غنی مرتضیٰ کو دیکھا ابو موسیٰ اشعری جو نادا عبداللہ ابن عمر ابو ذر ابو عبادہ زبیر یاسر حسن حسین اکرامہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا سعید جابر عقیل عامر جریر عمار دحیہ کلبی عدی بن حاتم ابو عبیدہ حسان واقد حمزہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا عبد الرحمن ابن عوف القم عبداللہ ابن عباس مسور معاویہ بن سفیان جعفر ابن جموح حنظلہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا عثمان ابن مظعون وائل مالک سفینہ جبیر اسعد طفیل واقد وہب قدامہ مقداد اسامہ طلحہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا ثوبان خالد حشام زمرہ سلمان حارث بلال ثابت برا بن مالک ابو ہریرہ ابو مجن ساریہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا معاذ ابن جبل عکاشہ عبداللہ ابن مسعود حذیفہ صفوان دارم ابو امامہ معوذ معاذ القمہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا ابو ایوب انصاری بریدہ انس بن مالک زیاد عطیہ عبداللہ ابن سلام نافع تمیم داری اعلیٰ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا عمیر جندب ابو قتادہ سعید خدری واغل سراقہ عبداللہ ابن مکتوم نوفل خنیس خاطب علوہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا ابو جندل شرحبیل سالم ابو قحافہ ابو مخزورہ لجلح غبطانی ابو لبابہ طلیب اشعث عقبہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر زمین طیبہ کہ تو نے شاہ بطحا کو دیکھا عباس حازم ابو رفاعہ خباب مصعب زمام حیثم زید ابن حارثہ کعب خزیمہ ابو برزہ واصلہ کو دیکھا صحیح مقدر
फजल अहमद कादरी साहब, कोई फजल अहमद कादरी साहब ने मैं को फजल अहमद कादरी साहब को और भी आवाज आ रही है? मैं को फजल अहमद कादरी साहब है ना, फजल अहमद कादरी साहब।
हसीन सितारा अबू हुरैरा नबी का प्यारा अबू हुरैरा, हसीन सितारा अबू हुरैरा नबी का प्यारा अबू हुरैरा, हसीन सितारा।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to Let's Unite the UK on Moonsighting with your host, Mufti Tayyibah Afzal on Salam BCR. I'm joined by a panel of experts on moonsighting. My Eid, your Eid. The purpose of this program is to have our Eid. Let's try to unite everyone. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi wahda, wassalatu wassalam ala man la nabiyya ba'da, amma ba'd. So the schedule of our program today will start with the first segment where we will have introductions for all our experts to show their experience, their expertise, followed by our second segment which will talk about the history and the development of moonsighting in UK. The third segment, which is the most important segment, will be how can we all unite? What do we need to do? What can we do? And whether we should or should not unite. And at this point, the lines will be open, so we welcome you all to call in with your ideas, your thoughts, and your suggestions. So inshallah, let's make a start on the introductions. I will invite all my guests on now. Okay, assalamu alaikum. So we will start with Maulana Hanif Saheb, as you requested this program. So if you make a start and let us know about your expertise and your efforts in moonsighting.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Mufti Tayyibah Afzal and the hosts here at Salam Radio. First and foremost, Jazakallah so much for giving us the opportunity to come here to your radio station today. I really appreciate this invitation. As you've introduced me, my name is Hanif Dudhwala, resident of Blackburn, born and bred in Blackburn, and following the moonsighting issue for the last 30 plus years. So quite a bit of experience in touch with the different groups that have criteria on moonsighting, and having done a lot of research over the last maybe 10 years plus, inshallah today I would like to share with you some of the research and the optimism I have that it is very possible to unite the Muslims of the UK. So inshallah, as the program goes on and progresses, I will be coming in to answer your questions, and later in the program when our listeners or viewers want to ask any questions or make any suggestions, inshallah we are here to welcome their views and their suggestions.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Next I would like to ask Muhammad Quraishi Saheb if you can introduce yourself. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone here and our viewers. My name is Muhammad Quraishi, and I've been working with New Crescent Society up here in the Northwest. I'm also from Blackburn, and we've been doing sighting the new moon, New Crescent moon, and yeah, we've been working on bringing the UK to the UK to get people to sight the moon locally here in the UK, and take things forward from there and get people to unite here by doing the moon sighting where we can actually see it here in the UK.
Okay, that's great. Jazakallah khair. Next, I'd like to ask Allama Zafarullah Shah, if you can introduce yourself, please. Jazakallah. You're on mute at the moment, so you just need to unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Syed Zafarullah Shah. I'm member of UK Moonsighting Board, which is a representative board for all Sunnah wal Jama'ah organizations.
ठीक है, जज़ाकल्लाह. आप उर्दू में भी हमें बता सकते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे सामने उर्दू में भी
جی میرا نام سید محمد ظفراللہ شاہ ہے. ہمارا یہاں برطانیہ میں یو کے رویت ہلال بورڈ ہے جس میں اہل سنت و جماعت کی تمام تنظیمات اور مراکز اس میں شامل ہیں. تو گزشتہ کافی سالوں سے اس پر کام ہو رہا ہے، اور آپ جانتے ہیں کہ نور ٹی وی پر بھی ہم ہر مہینے کی 29 کو باقاعدہ طور پر اجلاس ہوتا ہے، اور اس میں نئے قمری مہینے کا آغاز کا اعلان کیا جاتا ہے.
ٹھیک ہے، جزاک اللہ خیر. Next, I would like to ask Mufti Ghulam Rasool Saheb if you can introduce yourself and also let the viewers know what your expertise and experience is.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. سب سے پہلے تو مفتی طیبہ صاحبہ آپ کا شکر گزار ہیں، اور واقعی آپ مبارکباد گزار ہیں. اتنے امپورٹنٹ ایشو کو آپ جو ہیں وہ لائیو کر رہی ہیں. اللہ تبارک و تعالیٰ سے دعا ہے کہ اللہ آپ کو کامیاب کرے. یہ میری انوالومنٹ اس میں 1309 ہجری سے ہوئی، جب کہ امریکہ میں ہینوئی میں 100% جو ہے وہ اکلپس ہوا، اندھیرا چھا گیا، اور اس سے 12 گھنٹے پہلے سعودیہ نے اعلان کیا کہ انہوں نے چاند کو دیکھا ہے. اس بات کو لے کر الحمدللہ میں برطانیہ کے کونے کونے میں پھرا ہوں، اور بریڈ فورڈ میں تو ایک وقت ایسا بھی تھا جب کہ تمام دیوبندی، بریلوی، اہل حدیث، سب حضرات علماء جو ہیں وہ اکٹھے ہو گئے تھے. انہوں نے ایک فارمولے پر جو ہے وہ اتحاد بھی کر لیا تھا، لیکن چند نوجوان جو ہے وہ اس میں اتنے الجھے اور اتنی گڑبڑ کی کہ ان لوگوں نے خیریت اسی میں سمجھی کہ اس بات کو چھوڑ دیا جائے. لیکن کارواں چلتا رہا اور ابھی تک چل رہا ہے. اللہ کا شکر ہے کہ ہم اس میں بھی کامیاب ہو جائیں گے انشاءاللہ، لیکن ہو سکتا ہے وقت لگے، کچھ محنت لگے. جزاک اللہ.
جزاک اللہ خیر. شکریہ. Next, I'd like to ask Dr. Zahid Nawaz Saheb, please, if you can introduce yourself.
Jazakallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Firstly, sister, thank you very much indeed for this invitation. I am Zahid Nawaz. I'm a humble student in this subject. However, since the mid-1980s, I've been actively involved in moon sighting and the study of moon sighting, and collaborating with other organizations such as the New Crescent Society, Wifaqul Ulama, and other scholars. And also, by the grace of Almighty Allah, we have established a culture of all 12-month announcements right from the beginning of the Islamic calendar, from Muharram all the way up to Dhul Hijjah, on Noor TV. And I'm also pleased to see that the presenter of those programs, Hazrat Allama Syed Zafarullah Shah Sahib, is also present on this program. Our mission, our objective is, one, to enhance understanding on the science of moon sighting. Number two, to myth bust all those false assumptions which surround the subject of moon sighting, such as that, and I quote, that the moon cannot be sighted on the UK horizon. The UK horizon is abnormal. We are trying to myth bust those false assumptions. And thirdly, through this advanced awareness and education, we are trying to find the common grounds to reach consensus within the framework of the principles outlined in Quran and Sunnah. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. So inshallah we will take a short break now, and after this we will commence our second segment. Stay with us inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
معتبر ہم سفر مصطفیٰ کے سسر، تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. تو صداقت میں صدیق اول، تو خلافت میں صدیق اول، تو صداقت میں صدیق اول، تو خلافت میں صدیق اول، تو خلافت میں صدیق اول، تو خلافت میں صدیق اول. یہی نعرہ غنی کا، یہی نعرہ علی کا، یہی بولے عمر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. یہی نعرہ غنی کا، یہی نعرہ علی کا، یہی بولے عمر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر، باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر. مصطفیٰ کے سسر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. تو نے بارے نبوت اٹھایا، اپنی جھولی میں ان کو سلایا. تو نے بارے نبوت اٹھایا، اپنی جھولی میں ان کو سلایا. اپنی جھولی میں ان کو سلایا، اپنی جھولی میں ان کو سلایا. تیرے جاگے نصیب حبیب حبیب میرے قلب و جگر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. تیرے جاگے نصیب حبیب حبیب میرے قلب و جگر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر، باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر. مصطفیٰ کے سسر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. ہے نبوت کا شاہکار اکبر، لوگو سیدنا صدیق اکبر. ہے نبوت کا شاہکار اکبر، لوگو سیدنا صدیق اکبر. لوگو سیدنا صدیق اکبر، لوگو سیدنا صدیق اکبر. تیری شان اللہ اللہ ملا آقا کا مصلی اے حسین تاجور. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. تیری شان اللہ اللہ ملا آقا کا مصلی اے حسین تاجور. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر، باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر. مصطفیٰ کے سسر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. آقا کو نرغے میں دیکھتے ہیں، بوبکر دوڑتے دوڑتے ہیں. آقا کو نرغے میں دیکھتے ہیں، بوبکر دوڑتے دوڑتے ہیں. بوبکر دوڑتے دوڑتے ہیں، بوبکر دوڑتے دوڑتے ہیں. سامنے خود کو ڈھال بن گئے، ایک ڈھال جذبہ تھا کس قدر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. سامنے خود کو ڈھال بن گئے، ایک ڈھال جذبہ تھا کس قدر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر، مصطفیٰ کے سسر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر، مصطفیٰ کے سسر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. پنگا جس نے بغاوت کا ڈالا، بوبکر نے اسے مسل ڈالا. پنگا جس نے بغاوت کا ڈالا، بوبکر نے اسے مسل ڈالا. بوبکر نے اسے مسل ڈالا، بوبکر نے اسے مسل ڈالا. منکرین زکات کو دی سید نے مات کیا نافذ امر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. منکرین زکات، منکرین زکات کو دی سید نے مات کیا نافذ امر. تیری کیا بات ہے، تیری کیا بات ہے. باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر، باوفادی قدر معتبر ہم سفر.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Let's unite the UK on moon sighting with your host Mufti Tayyibah Afzal on Salam BCR. So before the break, we had introductions where our experts expressed their work within moon sighting. रुयत हलाल के अंदर उनका जो काम था उसके बारे में उन्होंने बयान किया. तो अभी हम जाएंगे अपने दूसरे सेगमेंट की तरफ. We will move on to our second segment, which will talk about the history of moon sighting within UK. So for the first question, I'd like to ask Allama Zafarullah to shed some light on moon sighting in the Sunnah, Sahaba, Tabi'in, और उसके बारे में कुछ अहादीथ अगर आप बयान कर दें, और कैसे सहाबा के ज़माने में रुयत हलाल के बारे में सहाबा ने अमल किया था.
जी, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम.
आपकी आवाज़ थोड़ी सी कम है, आप ज़रा माइक के पास रहें या अपने वॉल्यूम को ऊपर कर दें.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. ये आवाज़ ठीक है?
अभी थोड़ी सी कम है. Okay, we're just waiting for Allama Saheb to get back on Skype. He's just dropped off. In the meantime, I will ask Mufti Ghulam Rasool Saheb if you can shed some light on the methods adopted by Saudi and Morocco. Inshallah, if you can do that, and then we'll wait for Allama Saheb to come back online.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. मुफ्ती ताइबा साहिबा, असल में ये जो मसला है रुयत हिलाल जो कि सऊदीया में या मोरक्को में या दुनिया के किसी भी हिस्से में, उसमें जहाँ तक कुरान और हदीस का ताल्लुक है, उसमें सब ही इस बात पर मुत्तफिक हैं कि अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया सूमू लिरुयती वफ्तरू लिरुयती, कि चाँद को देखो और चाँद को रोज़ा रखो और चाँद को देख कर ही जो है वो अफ्तार करो, यानी ईद करो. और कुरान में है कि जो महीना है रमज़ान मुबारक का, वो जिसको पाए वो जो है उसमें रोज़ा रखे. मैं तो किसी को शक नहीं, चाहे वो सऊदीया वाले हों, चाहे वो मराकश वाले हों, चाहे इंग्लैंड वाले हों, चाहे पाकिस्तान वाले. सवाल बदकिस्मती से यहाँ पैदा होता है कि जब सऊदीया के खुद कैलेंडर में इस बात का जिक्र है कि उन्होंने ये जो कैलेंडर बनाया है वो न्यू मून पर बनाया है, और न्यू मून जो है वो यहूदियों का जो महीना है वहाँ भी वह भी वहीं से शुरू होता है. और नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इस बात की खास जो है ताकीद की है कि यहूद और नसारा की मुखालफत करो इस खासकर इस मामले में. और सूमू लिरुयती कि जब तक उसकी रुयत न हो जाए रोज़ाना रखो. अब जब सऊदीया वाले बदकिस्मती से खुद अपने कैलेंडर पर लिख रहे हैं कि हमने ये कैलेंडर न्यू मून पर बनाया है, और पूरी दुनिया के जो लोग इन पर चलते हैं सऊदीया के ऊपर, वो भी इस बात की गवाही देते हैं कि मुहर्रम से लेकर शाबान तक कम से कम मसला ऐसा होता है कि सऊदीया वाले कोई चांद देखते नहीं, बस सिर्फ जो है वो जो कैलेंडर उनका उम्मुल कुरा है उस पर जो है वो महीने का आगाज करते हैं और महीनों को जो है वो ख़त्म करते हैं. जब शाबान का महीना आता है तो जाहिर है कि उन्होंने शाबान को न्यू मून से शुरू किया, यानी एक दिन पहले जो है वो शाबान को शुरू कर लिया. तो जब जिस दिन उनकी 29 तारीख होगी, असल में रुयत के एतबार से 28 तारीख है. अब अगर कोई आदमी ये कहे कि 28 तारीख को मैंने चांद देख लिया, तो ये बहुत बड़ी उसकी गलती होगी, उसकी गलतफहमी होगी. लेकिन सऊदीया वाले इस बात को न सिर्फ ये कि मानते हैं बल्कि कोशिश करते हैं कि उस दिन जो है वो चांद नजर आ जाए और अपना महीना शुरू हो. ये है असल मसला, और इस मसले का हल दुनिया के किसी भी इंसान के पास नहीं. दुनिया के बड़े बड़े जो उलमा हैं उन्होंने इस बात पर कोशिश की, लेकिन बदकिस्मती से वो इसमें कामयाब नहीं हुए, और सऊदीया वाले जो हैं वो अपने इस फैसले पर अटल हैं और चल रहे हैं. अब सवाल ये है कि हम बरतानिया में रहने वाले کیوں سعودیہ، کیوں مراکش، کیوں دوسروں پر عمل کرتے ہیں. جیسے کہ میرے ایک بھائی نے کہا ابھی، ڈاکٹر زاہد صاحب نے، کہ یہ جو مسئلہ ہے کہ برطانیہ میں چاند نظر نہیں آتا، کیونکہ الحمدللہ ہم برطانیہ میں اور خاص کر بریڈ فورڈ میں 1960 سے رہ رہے ہیں، اور واقعی ان دنوں کی بات جب کہ 70s میں اور 60s میں جب کہ مسلمانوں نے یہاں پر واقعی جو ہے وہ اپنے اسلام پر چلنا اور روزے رکھنا شروع کیا، تو اس وقت چاند کا نظر آنا ناممکن تھا، چاروں طرف بادل چھائے رہتے تھے اور بہت ہی مشکل تھا. لیکن ان دنوں میں، یہ پچھلے چند سالوں کی بات ہے، جب ہم نے بریڈ فورڈ مون سوسائٹی قائم کی اور الحمدللہ بڑے جید علماء اس کے دیوبند کے یہاں اکٹھے ہوتے تھے، تو ہم نے ایک سال میں 8 چاند میں نے خود اپنی آنکھوں سے دیکھے ہیں اور علماء نے دیکھے. اور ہم نے اس بات کو بار بار علماء کے سامنے رکھا کہ آپ اس بات کو اب بھول جائیں کہ ہم جو ہے وہ سعودیہ پر کریں گے یا مراکش پر کریں گے یا دنیا کے کسی کونے میں کریں. ہاں اگر مسئلہ ہے کہ بھئی مسئلہ ابر آلود ہے یا ایسا مسئلہ ہے کہ بھئی یہاں پر جو ہمیں مشکل نظر آ رہی ہے، تو ہمیں جو نیئرسٹ ملک ہیں ان سے تعلق قائم کر سکتے ہیں. لیکن جو ملک یہ کہہ رہا ہے خود اپنی زبان سے تحریری طور پر کہ ہم جو ہے وہ یہ جو مہینے کا آغاز ہے وہ نیو مون پر کر رہے ہیں، اس پر اعتماد کیسے کیا جا سکتا ہے؟ اور الحمدللہ جیسے میں نے پہلے کہا کہ ایک وقت ایسا تھا جب کہ ہم نے بہت محنت کی، اور علامہ ظفراللہ صاحب جہاں تک مجھے یاد ہے اس میں شامل تھے، کہ پوری بریڈ فورڈ میں خصوصاً عالم دین اس بات پر راضی تھا کہ ہم ایک متفقہ لاہ عمل تیار کریں گے، ایک کمیٹی بنائیں گے اور اس کے مطابق جو ہے ہم عید کریں گے. اور متفقہ جو ہے وہ یہی تھا کہ ہم رویت پر عمل کریں گے، برطانیہ کی رویت پر عمل کریں گے. لیکن چند نوجوان بدقسمتی سے جب باہر سے کسی دوسری آرگنائزیشن سے ٹیلی فون آ گیا ان کو، تو انہوں نے وہاں پر آئے اور بہت جو ہے ہلڑ کیا اور بہت شور مچایا، یہ کامیاب نہ ہو سکا. لیکن اس کا مطلب یہ نہیں کہ علماء جو ہیں وہ اس پر قائم نہیں، علماء تو اب بھی چاہتے ہیں کہ یہ جو ہے مسئلہ حل ہو. لیکن کیا کریں، بدقسمتی ہے یہ ہماری کمیٹیوں کے ممبر، صدر حضرات اور عوام میں سے بہت سے لوگ ایسے ہیں جو اس بات کو چلنے نہیں دیتے اور خام خواہ الزام جو ہے وہ علماء پر لگا رہے ہیں. مجھے یقین ہے آج کا پینل جو ہے وہ کسی نہ کسی نتیجے پر پہنچے گا. لیکن سوال یہ ہے کہ اس پینل کے نتیجے پر پہنچنے سے عوام کو فائدہ کتنا ہوگا. بہرحال پھر میں آپ کو مبارک دیتا ہوں، بہت ہی ڈیفیکلٹ سبجیکٹ ہے، امید ہے کہ آپ اس میں کامیاب ہو جائیں گے. جزاک اللہ.
ٹھیک ہے، جزاک اللہ خیر. سامعین، وی ول ٹیک اے شارٹ بریک ناؤ. اسٹے ود us پلیز. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.
فاروق بھی جنتی، عثمان بھی جنتی، حیدر بھی جنتی،
ہر صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی، ہر صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی،
ہر صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی، ہر صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی. یہ سب رب سے راضی، خدا ان سے راضی، یہ سب رب سے راضی، خدا ان سے راضی. کتاب خدا میں، کتاب خدا میں تو لکھا یہی ہے. ہر صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی، ہر صحابی نبی.
اور سن رہے ہو؟ جی ہاں، اسی طرح ہزاروں اور بھی سننے والے ہیں. آپ کے کاروبار کی کامیابی کا راز سلام BCR. سنتے رہیے سلام BCR.
This is Project Radio, online, on air, everywhere.
السلام علیکم، میں ہوں جان ریمبو اور آپ میری آواز اس وقت جس ریڈیو اسٹیشن پر سن رہے ہیں اس کا نام ہے سلام BCR. سلام BCR کی تمام ٹیم کو اور تمام سننے والوں کو میرا پیار بھرا سلام. تو سنتے رہیے سلام BCR.
السلام علیکم پیارے دوستو، میں سخاوت ناز تے سن دے رہو سلام BCR.
میں ہنی البیلا. سنتے رہیے سلام BCR.
Once on radio, download log into our website www.project29.org.uk and email me Aidan for more details.
ضرورت ہے مکان یا فلیٹ کرائے کے لیے. اٹینشن لینڈ لارڈز اینڈ ٹیننٹس، اگر آپ اپنا مکان یا فلیٹ کرائے پر دینا چاہتے ہیں تو آج ہی سلام بی سی آر کی ٹیم سے رابطہ کیجیے. مزید معلومات کے لیے اس نمبر پر واٹس ایپ میسج کریں یا کال 0791-262-2961. نمبر یاد رہے 0791-262-2961. ہاں، we cover all areas across Greater Manchester.
ہمارا مشن اللہ کی رضا، محمد سے وفا، پاکستان کا دفاع. ہم ہیں سلام بی سی آر.
صحابہ صحابہ ہمارے صحابہ، نبی چاند ہیں اور ستارے صحابہ. نبی کا صحابہ ہر ایک جنتی ہے، یہی کہتا ہر ایک امتی ہے. نبی کا صحابہ ہر ایک جنتی ہے، یہی کہتا ہر ایک امتی ہے. صحابہ کا شاتم نبی کا ہے شاتم، صحابہ کا شاتم نبی کا ہے شاتم. یہ کہہ دو جاگر حدیث نبی ہے. صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی، ہر صحابی نبی جنتی جنتی. صدیق بھی فاروق بھی عثمان بھی حیدر بھی جنتی، یہی چاروں خلفاء.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. You're listening to Let's Unite UK Muslims on Moonsighting. Before the break, we had Mufti Ghulam Rasool shedding some light on the on the moonsighting policies of Saudi versus Morocco. Next, I'd like to go back to Allama Zafarullah Shah. Aap رؤیت حلال سنت میں اور صحابہ کے دور میں اور تابعین کے دور میں، اس کے بارے میں آپ کچھ روشنی ڈال دیں پلیز.
الرحمن الرحیم. بہت شکریہ سسٹر.
ذرا اپنے والیوم کو تھوڑا سا اوپر کر دیں پلیز.
قرآن مجید فرقان حمید اس حوالے سے، مون سائٹنگ کے حوالے سے ہماری رہنمائی فرماتا ہے. یسألونک عن الاہلہ قل ہی مواقیت للناس والحج. تو قرآن مجید میں یہ سورہ بقرہ ورس نمبر 189، اہلہ یہ ہلال کی جمع ہے. اے پیارے محبوب صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم، آپ سے یہ ہلال کے بارے میں پوچھتے ہیں. تو انگلش میں آپ جانتے ہیں کہ ہلال کریزنٹ مون کو کہتے ہیں. قل ہی مواقیت للناس والحج، آپ فرما دیجئے کہ یہ لوگوں کے دینی اور دنیاوی کاموں اور حج کی اوقات کی نشانیاں. اسی طرح قرآن مجید میں سورہ یاسین آپ پڑھیں تو وہاں پر بھی والقمر قدرناہ منازل حتی عاد کالعرجون القدیم. اسی طرح سے سورہ یونس کی آیت نمبر 5 ہے والذی جعل الشمس ضیاء والقمر نورا وقدرہ منازل لتعلموا عدد السنین والحساب. وہی ہے جس نے سورج کو روشنی دینے والا اور چاند کو روشن بنایا اور اس کی منزلیں مقرر کیں تاکہ تم سالوں کی گنتی اور حساب جان لو. تو قرآن مجید میں وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ، تو اسلامی قمری مہینہ اس کے آغاز کے لیے کریزنٹ مون کا ہونا ضروری ہے، جس سے جیسا کہ مجھ سے پہلے مفتی صاحب بتا رہے تھے کہ یہ جو برتھ آف مون ہے یہ مسلمانوں کا طریقہ نہیں ہے. یہ جو دیگر اہل کتاب ہیں ان کا جو اصول تھا وہ برتھ آف مون جو ہے اس پر چلتے تھے، لیکن قرآن مجید فرقان حمید نے جو ہمیں کرائیٹیریا بیان کیا ہے وہ ہے کریزنٹ مون اور اس کی سائٹنگ ہے، مون سائٹنگ ہے. اس سلسلہ میں ہمارے آقا مولا نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم نے متعدد احادیث مقدسہ میں اور صحابہ کرام بھی عملی طور پر ان احادیث مقدسہ کی روشنی میں عمل کیا کرتے تھے. حضور علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام کا فرمان ہے، یہ بخاری شریف کا حدیث نمبر اس کی 1906 ہے، صحیح مسلم
اس کا حدیث نمبر جو ہے وہ 1080 ہے. نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم نے فرمایا لا تصوموا حتى تروا الهلال ولا تفطروا حتى تروه فإن غم عليكم فاقدروا له، کہ نئے چاند کو دیکھے بغیر، یعنی کریزنٹ مون جس کو، یہ جو ہے نا آگے جیسا مفتی صاحب نے پہلے حدیث پاک بھی پڑھی، ایک اور مقام پر فرمایا سوموا لرؤیتہ وافطروا لرؤیتہ. تو سوموا لرؤیتہ، ہی کی جو ضمیر ہے یہ ہلال کی طرف، قرآن مجید نے اہلہ کہا، اور اہلہ یہ ہلال کا پلورل ہے، سنگولر اس کا ہلال ہے، کریزنٹ مون ہے. تو حضور علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام نے جو ہمیں گائیڈ لائن دی اور جس پر صحابہ کرام بھی عمل کرتے تھے وہ ہلال کو دیکھنا ہے. تو اصل بنیاد جو ہے وہ ہلال کو دیکھ کر 29 کو آفٹر سن سیٹ، جیسا کہ اسلامی ممالک میں، پاکستان میں، دیگر ممالک میں تو چاند کو دیکھا جاتا ہے. پھر اس میں فقہائے کرام نے پھر شہادتوں کا تذکرہ کیا، مطلع صاف ہو تو جمع غفیر ہونا چاہیے. تو یہ سارا جو کرائیٹیریا ہے موجود ہے. لیکن مجھ سے پہلے جو مقرر ہیں جیسا کہ انہوں نے بیان کیا، اصل جو مسئلہ ہے وہ ایک ملک کے غلط اعلان کی وجہ سے، جبکہ آبزرویٹری پوری دنیا کی، ورلڈ کی جو آبزرویٹریز ہیں وہ یہ کہہ رہی ہیں کہ آج تو چاند کا دیکھا جانا ہی ممکن نہیں، وہ ڈینجر لمٹ سے بھی چاند نیچے ہے اور وہ دیکھا جانا ممکن نہیں ہے. لیکن ایک ملک سے جب شہادت آ جائے، شہادت کیا میں کہوں کہ وہاں سے جو خبر آ جائے کہ اور ام القریٰ کیلنڈر ہے اور بیسڈ آلریڈی ہے، تو پھر دیگر جو ممالک ہیں مڈل ایسٹ والے اس کو بھی فالو کریں. اور پھر ہمارے یہاں برطانیہ کے جو ٹی وی چینلز ہیں اس کے اوپر یہ ہیڈ لائن آ جائے کہ جناب سعودی عرب میں چاند دیکھا گیا. جی ایک اور جو ہے وہ کنفیوژن ہے. تو آپ نے جیسا کہ کہا کہ قرآن مجید میں میں نے جو عرض کیا کہ ہلال کا ذکر ہے، حدیث مقدسہ میں بھی حضور علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام نے ہلال کا تذکرہ کیا. تو برتھ آف مون یا نیو مون کا کنسیپٹ اسلام میں نہیں ہے. جو ہمارے دوست اسکالرز اس پر زور دیتے ہیں، میں ان سے گزارش کروں گا کہ جب قرآن مجید کی نصوص واضح طور پر آیات مقدسہ موجود ہیں اور پھر نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کے فرمان موجود ہے، حدیث مقدسہ میں صریحاً واضح طور پر بیان کر دیا گیا، تو اس رہنمائی کے بعد ہمیں کسی اور اہل کتاب کا یا کوئی اور اپنی بات جو ہے وہ ریسرچ کرے، اس کی طرف ہمیں نہیں جانا. ہمیں کتاب و سنت میں رہنا ہے. ہاں ہم آبزرویٹری کو ایسے معاون لے سکتے ہیں، اس سے ہم مدد حاصل کر سکتے ہیں، لیکن ہماری بنیاد کتاب و سنت ہے، شریعت محمدیہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم ہے. حضور علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام کا جو طریقہ تھا ہمیں وہی طریقہ اپنانا ہے. اگر امت حضور کے طریقے کو چھوڑے گی تو ڈس یونٹی بھی ہو جائے گی، اور اتحاد اسی وقت قائم ہوگا جب ہم قرآن مجید کو تھامے رکھیں گے، نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی حدیث مقدسہ کو تھامے رکھیں گے تو اتحاد ہوگا. اب ان کو چھوڑ کر اگر کوئی کہتا ہے کہ ہم اتحاد کریں تو یہ ممکن نہیں ہے. تو اتحاد کا کرائیٹیریا بھی کتاب و سنت ہے. تو یہ میری چند گزارشات ہیں. اللہ تعالی ہمیں عمل کی توفیق عطا فرمائے.
آمین. جزاک اللہ خیر. Next, I'd like to ask Dr. Nawaz Saheb if you can shed some light on UK sighting history and the changes over the years. I would like to remind our viewers that we will not be taking calls at the moment until 4 p.m. inshallah. That's when we will move on to our third segment. How can we unite? At that time we will be taking calls. So please keep your phones ready, but don't call just now. Okay, over to you, Dr. Saheb. You're on mute at the moment. You just need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Firstly, I would like to thank the previous speakers, and by fully agreeing and endorsing everything they have said, I would just like to focus on a few points to answer the question which is set before me. All those different moon sighting criterions which exist before us, any one of them which advocates actual moon sighting, the first premise, the first starting point of those moon sighting criterions is local sighting. If you look at the criterion that we follow on Noor TV for the announcement of all 12 months, if you look at the moon sighting criterion of Wifaqul Ulama or the New Crescent Society, we all are united on one front, and that is that as a starting point, the first step is the country that you are living in. You will look for or try to sight the crescent on the 29th of the month. Once the crescent is seen, we can announce. But if it is not seen, then there are various different approaches on how you will address the absence of local sighting. So the point I am making is local sighting is the foundation of all moon sighting criterions which advocate actual moon sighting. Now, I want to put that in Urdu as well, because this is a very fundamental narrative which I have given. और वो ये बात मैंने अभी बताई है कि जो भी असूल एक्चुअल मून साइटिंग की दावत देते हैं या उनकी बुनियाद अमलन रोयत हिलाल है, उनका पहला कदम ये है कि जिस मुल्क में आप रहते हैं, मसलन बरतानिया, वहाँ 29 के ऊपर आपने हिलाल देखने की कोशिश करनी है। कता नजर इसके हिसाब क्या कहता है, ये बात के मामलात हैं। जैसा कि हजरत अल्लामा सैयद ज़फरुल्लाह शाह साहब ने कहा, हिसाब सेकेंडरी सोर्स है। अगर नहीं नजर आता, अगर आ जाता है तो ऐलान कर दें, अगर नहीं आता तो फिर जो है मुख्तलिफ सोचें पाई जाती हैं कि अब आपने कहाँ देखना है, अपने मतले की वुसअत जो है उसको कहाँ लेकर जाएंगे. So that's a very fundamental point. However, sister, when I traced back the idea that in Britain, what was the culture of moon sighting here when Muslims first arrived in the territories or the islands of the United Kingdom? We have to bear in mind that if we look into the historical records, the first mosque within the UK was the mosque in Liverpool, which was set out and established by Sheikh Abdullah Quilliam, who was given the title of Sheikh al-Islam by the Ottoman Empire. That was the first mosque in Liverpool. They published a magazine which was called, coincidentally, The Crescent, and it used to cover all of the news stories of the Muslim communities present at that time. I looked at their records for 2nd of March 1898, and they record a very historical incident where in the month of Shawwal, for the 2nd of March in 1898, this is more than 150 years, in Liverpool, the weekly magazine states that the muezzins of the time of that mosque went outside and they tried to sight the moon. That proves the point that even in the time of 1898, local sighting used to take place in the UK. Alhamdulillah, this is a very promising and reassuring fact for us. And at that time, the crescent moon was seen by the muezzins, and the street of Liverpool where the mosque is, they glorified the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying Allahu Akbar. And I am summarizing what is written in the weekly newsletter. And then they lighted up the lanterns in the street to let people know that the blessed month of Ramadan has ended and the month of Shawwal has started. Alhamdulillah, local sighting, even in the time of the Ottoman Empire in the UK, was taking place. By the passage of time, unfortunately, misconceptions have come in and distortions have come in, and people have abandoned the concept of actual moon sighting and just have gone to calculations. And on calculations, they have adopted their own interpretations. For example, the biggest misconception is that after sunset, the moon the crescent is present on the horizon even for 5 minutes. Let it be clear that there is no such thing as the crescent being present on the horizon 5 minutes after sunset. Scientifically, it is impossible to accept that. So we have to be clear on the history of local sighting, and we have to also be clear that calculations are a secondary source, and we also have to be clear when we say calculations, what do we actually mean by the different parameters? What do we mean by elongation? What do we mean by altitude? What do we mean by crescent illumination? And after understanding all those concepts, we will be in a better position to determine whether the moon is number one in the state of the waxing crescent, which is called hilal, and secondly, when would that waxing crescent be actually seen within the UK, or depending upon the extension of your horizon up to that point. Sister Mufti Saheba, if I was to illustrate that point, on the 29th of June, because we are approaching Zulhijjah rapidly, 29th of June is the 29th of Mahe Zulqada, the month that we are in. In Makkah Muazzama on that date, to illustrate my point, the elongation of the moon is 7 degrees. This is not even a crescent. This is the point which Qibla Mufti Ghulam Rasool and Allama Syed Zafarullah Shah Saheb was making. This is still conjunction. This is not the crescent. However, the Saudis will announce that we have sighted the moon. My objections on the Saudis is this. One, their calendar is something else, which is based on the birth of the moon, but the announcement itself, the Saudi announcement, contradicts their principle. Why is that so? Because they know that if they were to make this announcement, for example, that the moon is born, the lag time is this much, this is the elongation, therefore we are announcing, they know that this will create huge conflict within the religious circles of the Saudi scholars. So to cover that up, they make this rather absurd assumption that the moon has been seen. But let it be clear that on the 29th of June, the moon cannot be sighted in Makkah Muazzama, in Madinatul Munawwara, in Dammam, in Tumair, in Shakra, or in Najran. Any place in Saudi Arabia, the calculation assessments all indicate that the crescent visibility is negative and cannot be seen. Therefore, we have to be clear in understanding the calculations and the false announcements which cause huge disruption amongst Muslim communities, in particular living within the UK.
So Dr. Saab, what I'd like to confirm is how did, as you mentioned that at the start we did do local sighting. So how did we move on to Saudi, relying on Saudi or going to Morocco?
That's right. The passage of time was that people affiliated or belonging to those countries, they gradually started to come towards the concept of birth of moon. And unfortunately, when Saudi financing came about within the UK, certain affiliations drifted towards their way. The establishment of the Regent's Park Mosque and the Saudi influence on that, as we all know, the board of governance is heavily Saudi dominated. therefore that has a natural allegiance towards the Saudi announcements. But when you look at the Saudi authorities, they themselves categorically state that please do not follow us and look at your own countries and your own horizons. But for some bizarre reason, we do not take that advice and still start to follow Saudi. The question about Morocco is different. We cannot apply the Moroccan principle on Saudi. Morocco actually sights the moon for 12 months. Saudi does not sight the moon for 12 months. Morocco does not follow calculations. Saudi follows calculations based on the birth of the moon. Our time zone matches with Morocco. If the moon is not sighted, and I say this is the condition, if it is sighted, we don't follow Morocco. We don't follow any other horizon. We just look at our horizon. When it is not sighted, we extend the horizon up to those countries which they themselves have a moon sighting system and do moon sighting and can provide us accurate, reliable, validated moon sighting confirmations which we accept. So the case of Morocco cannot be applied on Saudi. There is a huge difference, both a technical difference and also a difference in the system of moon sighting each of those countries has adopted.
In terms of history, did the UK follow Morocco first and then Saudi, or was that Saudi first and then move on to Morocco?
In terms of the history, Saudi was followed then, Morocco was followed at the time too, simultaneously.
Okay, that's fine. Jazakallah khair for that. That was quite informative. Next, I'd like to ask Muhammad Quraishi Saheb, if you can shed some light on the UK local method.
Yeah, so the local method is very straightforward. We go out on the 29th evening and to sight the moon. And if we sight it, we complete 30 days. If we sight it, we start the next month. And if we don't sight it, we complete 30 days. We don't import the sighting. We don't see what Saudi is saying. We don't see what Morocco is saying or anything else, because the sighting, like I said, like it's rightly been said, it's a misunderstanding. It's a myth that the UK cannot be sighted in the UK. The moon cannot be sighted in the UK. The moon can be sighted in the UK. And this, inshallah, when we do the sighting and complete this for Dhul Hijjah, we will have 5 consecutive years of actual moon sighting data. That's of people actually going and sighting the moon, which will give us a perfectly viable Islamic calendar for the UK. So it's the 5th year in a row, inshallah, at the end of this month.
Every month that you're sighting
yes,
it.
Month in, month out in the UK.
Got data for 5 years, mashallah.
Yeah. So we just literally we just take the Sunnah, which is, sight it on the 29th day, and if you don't sight it, complete 30 days.
Okay. And so you're saying 5 years. How did you start this moon sighting, and what was the background on that?
Yes, this is New Crescent Society and others started out looking for the moon on a monthly basis. And as not only did the moon sightings take place throughout the UK, the amount of people sighting has grown as well. But they have successfully managed to sight the moon and record their sightings, positive or negative. What we tend to get is almost a 50-50. So you'll either have 6 of 6, 629s and 630s, or in terms of days in a month, or sometimes it's some years are 7 and 5 either way. And this works whether you're in UK, it works whether you're in Saudi Arabia following that calendar, whether you're in Morocco or anywhere else. If you have 6 of 6 and 6 or 5 of 7, it's a viable Islamic calendar. And that we've established that is doable in the UK in the last 5 years. So we have a system here. We have moon sighters from Jersey in the south all the way up to the Shetland Islands in the north.
Okay, so everyone's viewing the moon in their own areas, or is there location that they should
they go to particular locations. We've got to be able to see the western horizon clearly without any obstacles, and so every area will find a viable location to sight the moon, and then go out sighting, at the end of each and every month for the 12 months of the year.
Okay, mashallah, that's great. We have just a few minutes left before we take a break. I'm wondering if you, Mullah Hanif, if you'd like to start the first part of your talk on the permissibility and the pros and cons of each, so you can do half your session and then we'll take a break. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can finish it off in a couple of minutes, I think, most probably. Mashallah, listening to all the speakers, the purpose of today's program is how can we unite? I think it's very clear, our speakers have said it clearly, that we've got 3 criterias in the UK at the moment. We have a group following Saudi Arabia, we have a group following Morocco, and we have a group following local sighting. Brother Zahid Nawaz mentioned that those who they follow Morocco do actually start by doing local sighting, and if local sighting does not take place on the 29th, only then it's an extension to go to Morocco, which is absolutely fine. I think the issue that we need to discuss with our panel today and our guest speakers is that what can we do next? What is our next course of action to bring all 3 around the table and to come to one agreement? I think that is the most important and most crucial action that we need to take. If we keep on saying this, that one is wrong, one is right, which might be the case, one might be right, one might be wrong, but I think all parties have enough evidences to put forward to say that no, we do not follow calculations, we actually follow sighting. But obviously, experience proves otherwise. So I think the most important, which is the third segment of your program today, Mufti Sahiba, that how can we unite? And I think one key question I just wanted to ask our panelists, especially Allama Saheb, Mufti Saheb, and Zahid Nawaz Saheb, that if we have a breakdown in the UK of our major 2 schools of thought, which is the Deobandi Maktab-e Fikr and Barelvi Maktab-e Fikr, I just wanted to understand, being a Deobandi, what is the situation within the Barelvi Maktab-e Fikr? Are they all united on just one criteria, which is to cite locally, and if not, to take the news from Morocco? Or are there different sections within the Barelvi Maktab-e Fikr as well? The reason I want to ask that is that within the Deobandi Maktab-e Fikr, we've got 2 groups. We've got one group which is trying to cite local, if not extending to Saudi. And then we've got another group, Ufaqul Ulama, that want to cite locally and if not extend to Morocco. Is it the same within the Barelvi Maktab-e Fikr, or are they all united on just one criteria?
Inshallah, we will take a short break now and we'll come back to your question after the break.
Jazakallah. Thank you very much.
Spot Blue International Property Agents. Looking for property in Dubai or Turkey? We have hundreds of selected properties to suit every client. If you're looking for investment property or owner-occupier, then let Spot Blue hold your hand and buy with confidence. Spot Blue, the international property experts who understand your language. Spot Blue. For a full list of properties available across the globe, check our website spotblue.com or phone 0208 339 6036. That number again, 0208 339 6036, and across all social media platforms. Spot Blue.
हमारा मिशन अल्लाह की रजा मोहम्मद से वफा पाकिस्तान का दिफा हम हैं सलाम BCR.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Mufti Tayyibah and you're listening to Salam BCR on medium wave 1566 and on salambcr.com. Please join me every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. for a variety of Islamic related topics and Q&As.
मैं लोगों से मोहब्बत में अनाएं छोड़ देता हूँ, वफाएं याद रखता हूँ, जफाएं छोड़ देता हूँ. अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों, मैं हूँ इफ्तिखार फी, एक्टर, राइटर, शायर और कॉलम नवीस, वीलॉगर फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान. और सलाम BCR, जी हाँ, ये है नया रेडियो चैनल जिस पे आप मेरी आवाज़ सुन रहे हैं.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं शहजाद पप्पू, आप सुन रहे हैं सलाम BCR.
Salam BCR, medium wave 1566 and online. Your home of entertainment. Broadcasting across Greater Manchester and beyond. Check our website, project29.org.uk.
क्या आप अपने कारोबार को फलता फूलता देखना चाहते हैं? अगर आपका जवाब हाँ में है तो आज ही इस्लाम BCR से राब्ता करें। फोन 079126229161।
कमाल ये है, 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 कमाल ये है। खज़ां की रुत में गुलाब लहजा बना के रखना कमाल ये है। हवा की जिद पे दिया जलाना जला के रखना कमाल ये है। खज़ां की रुत में गुलाब लहजा बना के रखना कमाल ये है। हवा की जिद पे दिया जलाना जला के रखना कमाल ये है। जरा सी लग़ज़िश पे तोड़ देते हैं सब ताल्लुक ज़माने वाले। जरा सी लग़ज़िश पे तोड़ देते हैं सब ताल्लुक ज़माने वाले, है सब ताल्लुक ज़माने वाले। सो ऐसे वैसों से भी ताल्लुक बना के रखना कमाल ये है। खज़ां की रुत में गुलाब लहजा बना के रखना कमाल ये है। हवा की जिद पे दिया जलाना जला के रखना कमाल ये है। कमाल ये है, कमाल ये है। किसी को देना ये मशवरा के वो दुख बिछड़ने का भूल जाए। किसी को देना ये मशवरा के वो दुख बिछड़ने का भूल जाए, वो दुख बिछड़ने का भूल जाए। और ऐसे लम्हे में अपने आंसू छुपा के रखना कमाल ये है। खज़ां की रुत में गुलाब लहजा बना के रखना कमाल ये है। हवा की जिद पे दिया जलाना जला के रखना कमाल ये है। कमाल ये है, कमाल ये है, कमाल ये है, कमाल ये है। ख्याल अपना, मिजाज अपना, पसंद अपनी, कमाल क्या है। ख्याल अपना, मिजाज अपना, पसंद अपनी, कमाल क्या है। पसंद अपनी, कमाल क्या है। जो मौला चाहे वो हाल अपना बना के रखना कमाल ये है। खज़ां की रुत में गुलाब लहजा बना के रखना कमाल ये है। हवा की जिद पे दिया जलाना जला के रखना कमाल ये है। कमाल ये है, कमाल ये है। किसी की राह से खुदा की खातिर उठा के कांटे हटा के पत्थर। किसी की राह से खुदा की खातिर उठा के कांटे हटा के पत्थर, उठा के कांटे हटा के पत्थर। फिर उसके आगे निगाह अपनी झुका के रखना कमाल ये है। खज़ां की रुत में गुलाब लहजा बना के रखना कमाल ये है। हवा की जिद पे दिया।
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Let's Unite the UK on Moonsighting with your host Mufti Tayyibah Afzal on Salam BCR, where I'm joined by a panel of experts, and you've heard them all telling us all the history of moonsighting within UK. Going back to Maulana Hanif, you were mentioning the pros and cons, and you asked a question from Allama Saheb. I'd like you to just touch upon the permissibility of each as well, because a lot of people who are following Saudi, they would like to know whether it is actually okay for them to be following Saudi, or whether they should just be following local and Morocco.
Saheba, the responsibility and the onus lies on the organizations. So if the Central Moonsighting Committee, which is responsible under Regent's Park Mosque for bringing in the news from Saudi Arabia, and if they are saying to their followers that the news from Saudi Arabia is based on actual sighting, and it's not just on the months of worship, not just for Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, but for the full 12 months, then I feel that the people are completely innocent. So those who are following the organizations, following the Central Moonsighting Committee, Regent's Park, I don't think they've got anything to worry about regarding their worship. The onus is on the organizations. So as regards permissibility, I personally, in my research, feel that if you're following Saudi, if you're following Morocco, or even if you're following local moonsighting, all three organizations, as I've already said previously, have enough evidence to say that we are not following calculations, we are not following a calendar, we are following actual sighting. But then there's a lot of questions which come across. That's why we're having this discussion. If everything was fine, there was no discussion to have. But the discussion is that yes, there are discrepancies, especially in following Saudi. And me personally, being in the studio with you today and your panel, being a person who does follow Saudi and who's willing to sort of compromise, move away from Saudi, but I want to see what other groups are doing, and hence my question that in the Barelvi Maktab-e-Fikr, do we have consensus, do we have unity? And maybe Allama Saheb or one of our guests can also sort of tell us, if they've got the figures to hand, that what is the majority in the UK? Is it Barelvi Maktab-e-Fikr followers, or is it Deobandi Maktab-e-Fikr?
We've got a call coming through. Should we take that before we ask Allama Saheb to answer?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Salam BCR. Can you hear us?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. You're live on Salam BCR. What would you like to ask, and who would you like to ask?
Thank you so much. My name is Imad Ahmed. I'm actually the founder and director of New Crescent Society, and I'm well acquainted with all of your guests today. I'm very happy to see this discussion. And I think Maulana Hanif Dudhwala asked a very good question, and he's made a very good point. He said all of these fiqh positions, they are acceptable to each of their own groups. So if we engage in a fiqh debate, what will happen is what will happen has happened for the last 40 years. My position is better than your position, or your position is better than my position. And so what I would like to say is, if we think what is a calendar by its very definition is an agreement. For example, today you and I agree that it's the 18th of June. It's an agreement between me and you. The government makes the agreement in the UK, but here we have an opportunity to make a community agreement. At New Crescent Society, our analysis suggests that the only position that we are aware of in the UK that could get agreement is local sighting. That is because those who follow Morocco, and they follow South Africa as well, they say following Saudi is problematic because of Saudi's dubious sighting reports, as the Maulanas have very eloquently put. So I understand why they will not follow Saudi. But when you speak to Saudi followers, they say, we're never going to follow Morocco. We won't follow South Africa like they do in the groups mentioned here. And the reason they say that is we don't have a problem with Saudi. If Saudi say they've seen the moon, we believe them. Why should we switch to Saudi to Morocco? Morocco is not holy for us. South Africa is not holy for us. But Saudi holds a symbolic value. However, the Saudi followers all concede that local sighting is the position that they were taught in their own madrasas as the Sunnah position. So I've heard the local sighting position be the position that everybody agrees brings unity. And I just want to point out, you know, the groups that say, well, we follow Morocco or Saudi or any other country, but we sight locally first. The problem is, if you follow another country, you'll be looking on the date of another country. That's like saying, well, I'm going to follow Maghrib in my area, and I look out at noontime and I don't see that the sun has set. Oh, but the sun has set somewhere else, so I'm going to follow them. If you follow another country, you won't be in time, in line, in synchronicity with your own moon. So in the past, when people have gone to sight the moon, they don't see it because they're looking on the date belonging to another country. But we've shown in the last 5 years, if you follow your own local sighting, it's possible, it's viable. So we say we don't blame anybody for following any other country or any other position. These are all valid positions in Islam. But until 5 years ago, nobody has made an effort up and down the country to sight the moon on the day of the UK. And because they didn't think it was possible to see the moon in the UK, maybe. And also we've got, you know, like WhatsApp and communication.
Okay, Jazakallah. And have you got a question for one of our experts?
I have a question for those ulama who follow Morocco today. They all agree that local sighting is the basis. My suggestion, my question is, would they, if all of the Barelvi Ahl Sunnah ulama and the Wifaq ulama, it's a question I'm posing to them, if they came to a common agreement, like they follow Morocco today, would they be willing to come to a common agreement to follow local sighting? And we would make them the leaders and support them in this, because then we'd only have two positions left in the UK, Saudi and local. No more Morocco and South Africa. And I think that will clarify the position and take us a step closer to unity.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We'll ask one of our experts to answer that question for you, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for calling in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so over to you, Allama Saheb. If you can answer, first of all, Mullah Hanif's question and then also our questioner's question. Allama Saheb, आप مولانا حنیف کے سوال کا جواب اگر آپ دے دیں اور سائل کے سوال کا بھی جواب دے دیں.
اصل میں جو انہوں نے سوال پوچھا ہے کہ بریلوی مکتبہ فکر کا ہمارے تقریباً یوں سمجھے کہ 99% اتفاق ہے. 2-3 سینٹرز ہیں جن کا کوئی انڈیویجولی ان کا فیصلہ ہوتا ہے, نہیں تو گلاسگو تک ہمارا جو ڈیسیژن ہے وہ عمل ہوتا ہے. اور پہلی بات یہ ہے کہ سعودی عرب کے ساتھ کسی کے ذہن میں ہو کہ وہاں پر عقائد کے اختلاف کی وجہ سے کوئی معاملہ ہے, یہ معاملہ نہیں ہے. یہ ٹوٹلی مختلف ہے, چونکہ وہاں پر جو ملک قرآ کیلنڈر ہے اس پر آپ علماء دیوبند کے بھی اور دیگر کے تحفظات ہیں, اور اس میں جسٹس مفتی تقی عثمانی صاحب ہیں اور دیگر علماء کرام ہیں جو دیوبند مکتبہ فکر کے ہیں, تو ان کے تحفظات ہیں. تو وہاں پر ایک ڈاؤٹ ہے, شک ہے, بلکہ یقین کی حد تک ہے. یقینی بات ہے کہ وہاں چاند نہیں نظر آ سکتا اور پھر کہا جائے کہ چاند دیکھا گیا ہے. اور پھر جیسے ابھی مراکو تو 3 گھنٹے بعد میں سورج ڈوبتا ہے, اور مراکو میں چاند نظر نہ آئے اور سعودی عرب کلیم کر دے کہ چاند نظر آ گیا ہے, تو عقلی طور پر بھی آپ درایتاً بھی دیکھیں تو یہ اس میں آپ دیکھیے. تو جہاں تک بریلوی مکتبہ فکر کا ہے تو وہ معاملہ جو ہے وہ اس پر الحمدللہ ہمارا اتفاق, اور اس پر ہم ورک کر رہے ہیں آہستہ آہستہ. جو ٹی وی چینلز ہیں اس میں نور ٹی وی ہے, تکبیر ٹی وی ہے, سراج ٹی وی ہے, اقرا ٹی وی, امام قاسم صاحب ہیں وہ بھی فکری طور پر ہمارے ساتھ ہیں. تو الیکٹرانک میڈیا پر تو یہ ایک موومنٹ ہے انشاءاللہ تعالی آہستہ آہستہ. جب آپ علمی طور پہ, چونکہ آپ کا جو کیس ہے وہ انتہائی مضبوط ہے, سعودی عرب والے بھی یہاں پر امام کعبہ آتے ہیں تو وہ بھی یہی فرماتے ہیں کہ ہمارا لوکل معاملہ ہے, آپ خود ڈیسیژن لیجیے, کوئی آپ نے فیصلہ کرنا تو ہم باؤنڈ نہیں ہیں. اب دیکھیے نا ہمارے یہاں کتنی مسکنسپشن ہے اور کتنا جہالت ہے کہ جناب اگر وہاں حج ہو گیا تو دوسرے دن عید ہونی چاہیے. اب یہ کتنا پھیلایا گیا ہے کہ حج ہوگی سعودی عرب میں تو آپ جناب دوسرے دن آپ عید کیوں نہیں کرتے, جبکہ وہی ان کے جو اساتذہ ہندوستان میں ہیں, پاکستان میں, کیا وہ دوسرے دن عید کرتے ہیں؟ تو وہاں تو مختلف دنوں میں عید ہوتی ہے. تو اس میں الحمدللہ ہمارا تو اہل سنت و جماعت کی اتحاد ہے کچھ ایریاز ہیں جہاں پر ہم ورک کر رہے ہیں, ان سے میٹنگز بھی ہو رہی ہیں, ڈائیلاگ بھی ہو رہا ہے کہ آپ ہمیں بھی بتائیے, ہمیں سمجھائیے کریسنٹ مون سے نیچے, ہلال سے نیچے ہم کیسے جائیں. اب اچھا ایک اور بات میں عرض کروں گا, راجہ صاحب بھی یہاں تشریف فرما ہے اور مفتی صاحب بھی, غلام رسول صاحب بھی اور قریشی صاحب بھی. میں یہاں یہ عرض کیا کرتا ہوں کہ لمحہ موجود میں, یہ لفظ جو ہے لمحہ موجود, جس وقت آپ برطانیہ میں ڈسیزن کرتے ہیں, اگر آپ فقہ حنفی کو بھی لیں, دیوبندی بھی حنفی ہیں, بریلوی بھی حنفی ہیں, تو آپ یہ لیں کہ جس وقت آپ اناؤنسمنٹ کر رہے ہیں, کیا اس وقت پوری دنیا میں, دیکھیے میں اب کتنا یعنی پھیلا رہا ہوں اس بات کو, پوری دنیا میں شرعی طور پہ چاند کی شہادت نہیں ہوتی, خبر مستفید نہیں ہوتی, استفادہ خبر نہیں ہوتی, اور آپ اعلان کر دیتے نئے مہینے کا. اور بعض تو اب لطیفے یہ بھی, وہ کہتے ہیں جی 6 گھنٹے بعد چاند نظر آ جائے گا. میکسیکو میں اور امریکہ میں چونکہ چاند نظر آ جانا ہے تو ہم پہلے اعلان کر دیں. تو یہ سارے جو ہے یہ علمی طور پہ انتہائی کمزور دلائل ہیں. تو ابھی اگلا سوال تھا, یہ اماد بھائی ہمارے, انہوں نے لوکل مون سائٹنگ, بالکل اچھی بات ہے, آپ لوگ کوشش کر رہے ہیں, دیکھنا چاہیے, ہم آپ کو اپریشیٹ کرتے ہیں, لیکن کیا یہ پریکٹیکلی پاسبل ہے, یہ ہے کوسچن اصل. یہاں موسمی حالات آپ کے سامنے ہیں, اور ایسا بھی ہوتا ہے کہ 29 کو چاند نظر آ سکتا ہے, لیکن یہ بھی پاسبلٹی ہے کہ مسلسل 6 مہینے تک کلاؤڈی ہو, یہ بھی پاسبلٹی, آپ اس کو ڈینائی نہیں کر سکتے. اب آپ کیا ہوگا کہ پوری دنیا سے آپ کا کتنا گیپ آ جائے گا, تو پریکٹیکلی آپ اس کو امپلیمنٹیشن اس کی کیسے کریں گے, جب آپ دنیا سے اگر 4-5 دن آپ اور چلے جائیں گے تو کیا پرابلم بن جائے گی. تو یہ عملاً ممکن نہیں. اور پھر یہ ہے کہ جب موراکو کے اندر, اچھا اگلی بات ہے کہ موراکو کی کیوں لیتے ہیں, سعودی عرب کے اندر تو کوئی پوائنٹ ہی نہیں ہے کہ وہاں پر دیکھا جائے. موراکو کا جو راجہ صاحب مجھ سے بہتر جانتے ہیں, پچھلے دنوں علماء کا وفد وہاں پر گیا, شیخ عبد المغیث صاحب, ڈاکٹر عبد المغیث صاحب, انہوں نے لیکچر بھی دیا, تو وہ 200 سے زیادہ وہاں پر پوائنٹ ہیں, وہ نیوی سے بھی مدد لیتے ہیں. تو وہاں پر جو سسٹم ہے موراکو کے اندر مون سائٹنگ کا, وہ بڑا پاورفل ہے, اس میں کوئی ڈاؤٹ نہیں رہتا ہے. دین شک کی بنیاد پر نہیں ہونا چاہیے, جب وہاں پر واضح طور پر. اب میرا کوشچن, یہ اماد بھائی نے جو کوشچن کیا تھا, جب موراکو کے اندر
we just have a caller. وہ کر دیں. السلام علیکم, you're live on Salam BCR, what's your question? Can you hear us?
My name is Kamaruddin. I want to ask a question when the speaker is finished talking.
Sorry, what was that again? Could you just repeat that?
Kamaruddin صاحب ہیں ہمارے, ماشاءاللہ یہ بھی بہت ایکسپرٹ ہیں, اور چاند کے معاملے میں ان کی بہت زیادہ
question about UK sighting.
Okay, go ahead. Ask your question.
Oh, there is a lag between your transmission and okay, let me
listen on the phone, then you'll be able to hear.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Kamaruddin from York, and I'm the coordinator for moonsighting via our website moonsighting.org.uk. And there was a question asked by one of your panelists, Syed Zafarullah Shah, and I'd like to clarify that we are able to see the moon in the UK every month throughout the year. And if it is cloudy in one area, we're able to see in other area. But if unfortunately we do not have people sighting the moon in some area where it is clear and we complete 30 days, then the following month it corrects itself. So the following month 30 becomes 29 if we completed the 29 into 30. One question that I'd like to ask the panel is that in the Quraib hadith, which Maulana Hanif Dudhwala Saheb actually circulated an explanation by a Mufti Sabi Akhtar from India, is that the hadith says that if it is cloudy, then complete the month 30 days. It does not say if it is cloudy, go moon hunting around the world. So why don't we try completing 30 days if it's cloudy in the UK? Don't follow it for a year. Let's see if it fulfills the requirement of Sharia. I am inviting Waifaqul Ulama, I am inviting the Baralwi Ulama, I am inviting the Saudi followers who all say, mashallah, all three maslak are saying, first local, then we go in so-and-so country. So if it is first local, let's trial first local and then complete that. The reason I am asking is coming Muharram after Dhul Hijjah, the moon will not be possible to be sighted in the UK because there is a cutoff between Morocco and UK for a few months in a year, about 4 out of the 12.
Thank you very much. So, we will take a short break now, but stay with us and do call in. Our number is 07990264144, or alternatively you can call on 01612219872. Do call in after a few minutes after we come back from our break. Assalamu alaikum.
दिखाने को खुदा का नाम काफी है या मेरे अल्लाह 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 या मेरे
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. You're listening to Let's Unite the UK on Moonsighting with your host Mufti Tayyibah Afzal on Salam BCR, as I'm joined by the panel of experts. Now, as I mentioned, our lines are open. Please, when you do call in, keep your questions short so that we can be more productive, okay? The experts are here already. They will be giving their thoughts. However, if you want to say your ideas or your suggestions, let's keep it to under 60 seconds, please. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. Okay, we have another call coming through. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Salam BCR. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? You're live on Salam BCR.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, so what is your question?
Okay, first of all, I would just like to congratulate all of the scholars and people of knowledge who've joined together.
Your sound is a little bit quiet. If you can put your volume up, please.
Okay, no problem. Can you hear me a little bit better?
And there's some background noise as well.
Okay, I'll move away. I think.
Yeah, just put yourself towards the mic, please.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. That seems to be okay. Okay, so what was your question?
So, I just wanted to congratulate all of the people of knowledge and the scholars who have united on this very contentious issue, which people fear to sometimes speak about because they're worried about the consequences. But alhamdulillah that we've taken this first step. I pray that, like the ulama in South Africa, we can come to some form of unification. My question is regarding the Saudi Arabia calendar. So I was looking, I tend to follow Saudi news quite a bit as well, and the Ummul Qura calendar, if you look at the previous history of it for the past 20 years or even more than that, we will find that the dates have already been pre-calculated, so let alone the ru'yah of the hilal being done on that particular month.
Okay, so you're asking about the Saudi calendar, is that right? And what is your question? If you can keep it short so that because we're limited on time.
Okay, no problem. So all I wanted to ask was, when we're heading towards unification by process of elimination, perhaps we can maybe come to one conclusion as well, one sort of unified agreement that maybe Saudi isn't reliable, especially since one last point, and then I put the phone down. Even the last Eid that we had, the ulama in Saudi Arabia themselves, including the main man of the observatory, actually said it was not sighted, and they have their own.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Is that Sheikh Rizwana?
Yeah, well.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair for your call. Thank you.
Mufti Sahiba, can I answer that question on Saudi, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jazakallah. I've been listening very carefully. Couple of points. One, the sister is absolutely right. The dates for the al-Qura calendar are predetermined. What to add to that is that Saudi dating system has changed 3 times. Up to 1419, they had one criterion, and then it changed again from 1420 to 1422. And now the most up-to-date criterion that we have for the Saudi calendar is 1423. And in none of those periods, those 3 changes, is the concept of actual crescent visibility. It's all about the birth of the moon. Actual crescent visibility does not exist in the al-Qura calendar. That leads me on nicely on a point you made, Mufti Sahiba, is that we follow Saudi Arabia. When we say we follow Saudi Arabia, the real crux is, what are we following? We cannot just follow blindly a country. We have to understand कि हम किस चीज को follow कर रहे हैं, किस असूल को follow कर रहे हैं. और हमारे भाई इमाद said that these are fiqhi positions. I think just one point of clarification from me, the ulama are here. This is not a fiqhi position at all to follow Saudi Arabia. It is not a fiqhi position just to follow calculations. The 4 fiqh positions, Imam Azam Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Imam Shafi, or Imam Malik, may Allah be pleased with them all, or even if you add the Tashi of Hazrat Imam Jafar Sadiq, Raziyallahu Ta'ala, their school, none of them advocate 2 things: to follow Saudi Arabia. None of them advocate just to follow calculations. So this is not a fiqhi position. This is some kind of absurd idea just to follow Saudi Arabia without even understanding their moon sighting criterion. The real debate which now needs to take place in the UK is this: local sighting, and when I say local sighting, I mean exclusive local sighting, or local sighting plus extension of your horizon up to a certain point. That is the next phase of the debate that we need to have. When we have our discussions, we spend hours and hours talking about Saudi. Put Saudi on one side. We all agree Saudi's moon sighting system
we have
is
another call coming through, so I'll just have to interrupt you there. Assalamu alaikum, you're live on Assalam BCR. Can I have your question? Just keep it short, please, as we are due a break as well now.
Wa alaikum assalam. My name is Brother Haris, and I just wanted to put a question forward to the brothers on the call. I wanted to ask, obviously, that I've seen personally a lot of traction gaining for local moon sighting recently, and I see an effort being made for mosques to change to local moon sighting. What I wanted to ask is, why are people still, for example, following Morocco? Are we not ready to follow the UK yet? Is there not enough data? What can the potential issues be? Because as far as I can see, it's pretty evident that the Saudi following mosques don't want to switch to Morocco, but the UK But don't you agree that the UK is now going to be the uniting position? And what's stopping us from actually changing to UK sighting with the network we have?
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your answer. We will answer your question shortly after we take a break. Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah.
So we can, so if you just keep listening, we'll answer after the break. Okay, listeners, we will be taking more of your calls after the break, so do call in, and we would also encourage local organizations to definitely call in, especially if you are following Saudi. We definitely want you to call in and share what your perspective is so that we can try to unite, because the majority of the experts here are, as you've heard, they are happy with local and Morocco sighting. So we need to hear from the organizations following Saudi after the break, inshallah. More calls are coming through, but we will hold back. Please wait until after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Tayyibah, can I come in for a minute? Are you listening to me, Tayyibah?
Just 1 minute.
Are you listening to me? Can I come in?
ओ सुन रहे हो? जी हाँ, इसी तरह हजारों और भी सुनने वाले हैं। आपके कारोबार की कामयाबी का राज सलाम BCR। सुनते रहिए सलाम BCR।
This is Project Radio, online, on air, everywhere.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं हूं जान रेम्बो और आप मेरी आवाज़ इस वक्त जिस रेडियो स्टेशन पर सुन रहे हैं उसका नाम है इस्लाम PCR। इस्लाम PCR की तमाम टीम को और तमाम सुनने वालों को मेरा प्यार वाला सलाम। तो सुनते रहिए इस्लाम PCR।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम प्यारे दोस्तों, मैं सखावत नाज ते सुनते रहो सलाम BCR।
मैं अनी अलबेला, सुनते रहिए सलाम BCR।
Want to be on radio? Then log into our website www.project29.org.uk and email me items for more details.
जरूरत है मकान या फ्लैट किराए के लिए। अटेंशन लैंडलॉर्ड्स एंड टेनेंट्स, अगर आप अपना मकान या फ्लैट किराए पर देना चाहते हैं तो आज ही सलाम BCR की टीम से राब्ता कीजिए। मजीद मालूमात के लिए इस नंबर पर व्हाट्सएप मैसेज करें या कॉल 0791-262-2961। नंबर याद रहे 0791-262-2961। हाँ, we cover all areas across Greater Manchester.
हमारा मिशन अल्लाह की रज़ा, मोहम्मद से वफा, पाकिस्तान का दिफा, हम हैं सलाम BCR। Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. You're listening to Let's Unite the UK on Moonsighting with myself, Mufti Tayyibah Afzal, on Salam BCR Radio, where we are now taking calls from yourselves. So please do call in and join us on the important last segment of ours of how can we unite. So especially if you're following Saudi, we definitely want you, and if you are a part of an organization or you're one of the leaders of the masajid, do call in. We do have another call coming through right now, so we will take that. Assalamu alaikum, you're live on Salam BCR. Please state your name and where you're calling from and what is your question.
Assalamu alaikum. My name's Ali. I'm calling from London. And I just have a question for Mohammed Quraishi from the New Crescent Society, please.
Okay, Jazakallah, yeah. What's your question?
So my question is, I know the New Crescent Society do a lot of interactive training and also live stream moon sighting every month. And I'd just like to know, what has the reception been like to local sighting, and are the general public coming around to the idea of local sighting, please?
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We'll get that answered for you straight away. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, over to you, Mohammed Quraishi Saheb.
Yeah, Jazakallah for calling in. Yeah, Alhamdulillah, we stream live every month to Facebook, so it'll be a live stream from across the UK. So I contact this, I get onto the stream from Blackburn, other people in Bolton, other people that are down in London and on the Shetland Islands and Jersey, etc. So we have a live stream every single month. So if you go into the New Crescent Society Facebook page, you can join that live there. And
just one moment, we've got another call coming through. Assalamu alaikum, you're live on Salam BCR. There is a bit of a queue. We're getting calls on our WhatsApp number as well as our landline. So if you are not getting through, then please bear with us, because we are getting a lot of calls. So just hold the line, just bear with us, okay? Can you hear me? Are you on the line?
Yes, hello.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry, do you want to finish your...
Yes, so I was just saying, we do have live streams every month, and in fact we have a training as well, and the training is happening on next Sunday, 11:30 in the morning. So
Assalamu alaikum, you're live on Salam BCR. I'm sorry I keep on disturbing you, but we're getting a lot of calls. Please state your name and where you're calling from and what is your question, and if you can please try to keep it brief so that we can move on to our next questioner.
Wa alaikum assalam. Apologies, I'm just ringing again as Brother Haris. I was just going to ask my question regarding, I understand that there are some influential people here who have quite some power over some masajid. Why aren't they following local moon sighting already if they believe that's the moon sighting, that's the uniting position?
Okay, Tika, Jazakallah khair. We'll get that answered for you then. Assalamu alaikum.
I think you might have forgotten just after the break, so I thought I'd just remind you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was on my mind. Don't worry, I didn't forget. Okay, so why are we not following local sighting? Why are some people still following Saudi?
Okay, I think Mufti Saheba, like you say, you are getting a lot of calls left, right and center. I can see on your studio, I can see on your mobile, and then those who cannot get through are actually phoning me on my mobile as well.
We have got one more call that's just come through right now. Assalamu alaikum, you're live on Salam BCR. Would you like to state your name and where you're calling from?
Press that button.
It's going to voicemail.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, can you hear us?
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, you're live on Salam BCR. Can you hear us? If you can, please confirm.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So could you state your name and where you're calling from and your question?
Right, so my name is Dr. Abid. I'm speaking from Huddersfield.
Okay, your sound is a little bit down.
Okay, so my name is Dr. Abid. I'm speaking from Huddersfield.
Okay, thank you.
So my question is regarding those who follow the Saudi moon sighting. So the people who follow the Saudi moon sighting is based on the decision made in 1986. And in that decision, the only people who made the decision were ulama, religious ulama. And there were no experts on the moon sighting or, scientists involved with this field of knowledge. Now, I'm just wondering whether that kind of decision, what kind of weighting that should be given when you've got no experts in a field of knowledge and ulama who are not taught this subject making a decision to follow Saudi moon sighting without knowing the implications.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your question. We'll get that answered by Maulana Hanif now.
Yeah. Just before I answer that question, Mufti Saheba, like I'm saying that there seems to be a lot of questions coming through. If we can sort of ask our listeners and viewers to keep their question on a suggestion, how can we unite? Because that is the whole purpose of today's program, rather than everybody asking all different types of questions, simply because we're running out of time, and I can see that your phones are ringing left, right, and center, and it's becoming very difficult to manage this. As far as Dr. Abid is concerned, yes, Dr. Abid Sahib, that decision that was made in 1986, that is the precise reason why we are having this discussion, that we need to review this. And I, although following Saudi Arabia, I was not part of that decision. I don't have my signature on that, but I fully support that it needs to be reviewed. Was it a correct decision at that time? And today we need to review that. And my request to all the listeners, especially those who follow Saudi Arabia, follow the Central Moon Sighting Committee, majority from the Deobandi Maktab-e Fikr, I want to hear from you are we ready for a change? Because when we listen to all the arguments, the local following is a very strong argument. Following Morocco is a very strong argument. Unfortunately, following Saudi is a very weak argument. For me to say that as a follower of Saudi, still following Saudi, but I can understand and I've taken on board everything our guests have said today. So I don't think there's any case left to try and prove which is the strongest position. In my view, the strongest position is the one that Wifaqul Ulama have taken, which majority of the Barelvi Maktab Fikr Ulama, Allama Saheb, Mufti Saheb, Dr. Zahid Saheb will agree upon, is to follow local, but to extend local to Morocco as well. And that should be the stance we can all agree upon. And also work towards local only. Don't stick to just local, extend to Morocco. Extend to Morocco for now, have some more research on the local criteria, and then work towards that. But I need support from our Saudi followers, our masjids, our imams, who might be listening now, who might tune in later. We need support to convince our Central Moonsighting Committee to come and join, so that the majority, 95 to 98% of the UK, can have Eid together, Ramzan together, and celebrate together.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Going back to the question from Brother Harith, I believe, he said, well, why are people continuing to follow Saudi?
I think Brother Harris was asking that when we've got the local sighting, the same argument that local people will make, that it is possible to sight in the UK, the Saudi followers believe that no, it's not possible to sight in the UK at all times. Allama Saheb has already mentioned as well that if we get 6 months in the UK due to weather conditions, where if it's not sighted, we will fall out in our calendar from the rest of the world. Hence, to have a backup system of Morocco, which the Wifaqul Ulama have, that is absolutely perfect, so that we stay in sync with the rest of the world. We follow the Quran and Hadith of actually sighting, not believing in calculations, and most importantly, for me personally, we have unity in the UK. And can I just add on, Dr. Mufti Saheba, Berry, where we are conducting this program today, mashallah, is a unique example. I made my research during this week, and I got to know that there's approximately between 15 to 20,000 Muslims living in Berry. You have mosques from both schools of thought, the Deobandis and the Barelwis, and everyone is united. Your Eid starts together, your Ramzan starts together, your 12 months start together. If Berry can unite, then I'm sure the whole of the UK can unite.
Absolutely. We've got 2 more questions via text message. One is from Dr. Ayub Patel from Dewsbury, but presently in Saudi. Do the ulama accept that it is due to UK being abnormal latitude and persistent bad weather and lack of trained sighters in the right places that we are resorting to fixing a nearby country to outsource as allowed by Islamic Hanafi fiqh? Who would like to take this question?
I think Allama Saheb.
Allama Saheb, are you present?
Assalamu alaikum.
Yep, we can see you now. Sorry.
जी आवाज आ रही?
थोड़ी सी कम है लेकिन
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम। जी अभी इस पर राजा जाहिद नवाज साहब माशाल्लाह एक्सपर्ट हैं, इन्होंने पीएचडी भी मून साइटिंग पे की हुई है, तो इंशाल्लाह वो ज़्यादा तफसील के साथ इंशाल्लाह ताला बयान करेंगे। तो मैं अभी अर्ज़ ये कर रहा हूँ कि वाकई बरतानिया का जो मौसम है क्लाउडी, उस वजह से माजी का तजर्बा भी है कि अक्सर जो है वो यहाँ पर, और ये भी मुमकिन, अभी इमाद साहब और दीगर हजरात कह रहे थे जो कॉलर हैं, मैं गुजारिश करूंगा कि मेरा तजर्बा ये कि ये भी पॉसिबिलिटी है कि आपको मुसलसल 6 माह तक यहाँ क्लाउडी रहे, ये मुमकिन है, और पिछले मैंने डेटा भी देखा है, तो आगे भी ऐसे चांसेस हो सकते हैं। तो इम्प्लीमेंट करना हमारे लिए मुश्किल हो जाएगा, और मोरक्को के अंदर जो मून साइटिंग सिस्टम है वो इंतहाई शरी तकाज़ों के बहुत ही, बल्कि बहुत मजबूत है। तो जब एक ऐसा मियार, और फिर पहले ये होता था कि वहाँ से इस्तिफादा खबर करना बहुत मुश्किल था। अभी हमारे राजा जाहिद नवाज साहब वहाँ मिनिस्ट्री की ईमेल कर दी उसी लम्हे ان کو جو ہے وہ اور دیگر ہمارے علماء کرام کو وہاں پر جو خبر مستفید ہے وہ میسر آ جاتی ہے. اب واٹس ایپ کا دور ہے، پہلے یہ ہوتا تھا کہ 2 گھنٹے 5 گھنٹے انتظار کرنا پڑتا تھا. تو مراکو کے اندر چونکہ ایک تو شرعی تقاضوں کے مطابق وہاں پر سائٹنگ ہوتی، نمبر 1. دوسرا یہ کہ وہاں سے خبر لینا اب انتہائی آسان ہو چکا ہے، وہ آج سے 15 سال پہلے والی بات نہیں ہے. تو جب آپ کو ایک سہولت میسر ہے اور وہ بھی شرعی تقاضوں کے عین مطابق ہے، اور برطانیہ کے اندر بالکل یہاں پر مسئلہ ہے موسمی حالات کی وجہ سے، اور میں یہ بھی ساتھ ایڈ کر دوں تاکہ کسی کو یہ نہ ہو کہ یہ نبی پاک صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی جو سنت مطالعہ ہے چاند کو دیکھنا اور دعا مانگنا، اس کو کنٹینیو رہنا چاہیے، اس کو دیکھا جانا چاہیے. لیکن اگر آپ صرف یہاں مراکو کے مطلب پر رہیں گے تو جیسے مولانا صاحب نے کہا ہم پوری دنیا سے کٹ جائیں گے. یہ پرابلم ہے اور یہ پریکٹیکل نہیں ہے. یہ میری گزارشات ہے.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We also have another question from Hamid Mirza. The question is, how are you going to change this regarding the moon? It's a text message. And also, have you spoken to the imams of Bury? So, as we know, Bury is already united, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the Central Moon Sighting Committee, that is the main Deobandi organization that is actually advocating Saudi sighting. I'm going to request today, میں درخواست کروں گا ہمارے علامہ صاحب سے، ڈاکٹر زاہد نواز صاحب سے، مفتی صاحب سے، کہ اگر آپ حضرات بھی ان حضرات کو ذرا دعوت پیش کر کے ان کو بھی اپنے ساتھ ایک ٹیبل پر لانے کی کوشش کریں. اس لیے کہ میں تو بہت کوشش کر رہا ہوں، یہ لوگ مجھے کہتے ہیں کہ آپ اکیلے ہو، اور خیر جو بھی کچھ ہے، اگر ہمارے بریلوی مکتب فکر کے مفتیان کرام، علماء کرام اس نیت سے کہ ہمیں ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ یہ نہیں کرنا ہے کہ بھئی ہم صحیح ہے آپ غلط ہے، ہم چاہتے ہیں کہ ہر مسلمان متحد ہو کر کے. میں نے گزشتہ کل مفتی صاحبہ ایک میسیج بھیجا تھا کہ کتنا افسوس کہ جو بچے پورا سال اسکول کے اندر ایک ساتھ کھیلتے ہیں، عید کے دن آدھے بچے اسکول میں آدھے گھر پر، اور پھر ٹیچرز پوچھتی ہے تو آدھوں کا روزہ اور آدھے عید بنا رہے ہیں. ہم لوگ جہاں پر رہتے ہیں ہمارے علاقے میں ہم سب متحد رہتے ہیں، چاہے ہمارے مسلک الگ ہو، ہمارے مکتب فکر الگ ہو، لیکن یہ مسئلہ ایسا نہیں ہے، کوئی اتنا راکٹ سائنس کوئی اتنا مشکل نہیں ہے. جب 1960s میں آپ نے مجھے ایک سوال کیا تھا کچھ ہسٹری کے بارے میں، 1960s میں میرا انڈرسٹینڈنگ یہ ہے، میری پیدائش 1967 کی ہے، تو 1975 سے لے کر 1985 تک مجھے یاد پڑتا ہے کہ 10 سال تک سب کے سب موروکو پر تھے. پورے دیوبندی، پورے بریلوی مکتب فکر سب کے سب موروکو پر تھے. پھر سہولت کی وجہ سے، یہ یاد رکھنا کہ موروکو سے ہٹنا سہولت کی وجہ سے، چونکہ سمر کے ایام تھے 1985-86 اور یہاں پر بہت دیر سے موروکو سے اطلاع آتی تھی، تو سہولت کی وجہ سے ہمارے علماء دیوبند نے سعودی کا ملک پک کیا. اور وہ اسی لیے پک کیا تھا کہ ان کے پاس معلومات یہ تھی کہ وہاں پر بھی ہر مہینے شرعی رؤیت ہوتی ہے.
Okay, so it wasn't the reason that, oh, because they are our holy sites.
Not at all. Holy sites کے ساتھ تو کوئی تعلق ہی نہیں ہے. ہمارے بریلوی مکتب فکر کے لوگ عمرہ کے لیے کہاں جاتے ہیں؟ مکہ مکرمہ، مدینہ منورہ. حج کے لیے کہاں جاتے ہیں؟ وہ تو ویسے ہی جس نے ایموشنل ہائی جیکنگ کہتے ہیں نا، کہ یہ ہمارے کوئی کعبہ شریف تھوڑا فیصلہ کرتا ہے یا مسجد نبوی تھوڑا فیصلہ کرتا ہے، فیصلہ تو حکومت کرتی ہے. تو اس کے ساتھ کوئی تعلق نہیں ہے. اٹس اے ایموشنل سبجیکٹ. ایوری باڈی واز یونائٹیڈ فرام دا 60s all the way till 85 اور 86 سے یہ اختلاف شروع ہوا ہے. I think it's time to go back to local and Morroco sighting only.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We have another question which is also a text message from Zakira Patel. Assalam, how do you plan on uniting on this issue when no one from the Saudi side is on the panel? We do actually have Mullah Hanif, he's on Saudi, I'm also on Saudi, but I believe in Morocco and local. Although I follow Saudi because everybody else follows, but I do think that it's wrong and it needs to be changed.
I would like to say to the sister, that sister, whichever masjid you are associated with, please contact the Saudi organizations and the Central Moon Sighting Committee and request them to engage with us. This particular organization is even refusing to engage.
Okay, that's the problem.
After a lot of pressure, They held one meeting a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, they did not give people the time to ask questions, answers. So this sister can help us by requesting the Saudi organizations to come and talk with us.
Inshallah.
We are willing to talk with everyone.
Let me just finish off the question. It says, have you spoken to Maulana Islam Ali Shah, who is the chairman of Central Moonsighting Committee, about uniting? CMSC think what they are doing is correct and they are not prepared to change their stance regardless of what data you show them. How do you plan on bringing them to the table to discuss this issue?
That's exactly the person I was referring to, Maulana Islam Ali Shah. I've been speaking with him for the last 2 years. I've spoken with everyone on the Central Moonsighting Committee, and Maulana Islam Ali Shah was the one who coordinated the meeting 3 weeks ago. I invite today on BCR, on your radio here, Radio Salam, in your presence, Mufti Saheba, Maulana Islam Ali Shah is more than welcome to come, and we can have the same panel with Allama Saheb, Mufti Saheb and Zahid Nawaz Saheb. And if Maulana Islam Ali Shah can prove to us that for 12 months of the year, for the last 36 years, if he can show us the record, not for 36 years, for 1 year, for 12 months in writing the Saudi official moonsighting decision, then we will all follow Saudi. Because they do not have this, and I have asked them again and again and again to prove that has sighting taken place in Saudi Arabia. All they say is, we've got the information, follow what we say. We've got the information, follow what we say. So Maulana Islam Ali Shah Sahab, Mufti Aslam Sahab, Maulana Yaqub Miftai Sahab, all the scholars who are my scholars, who I follow from the Central Moonsighting Committee, I welcome them to come and sit with Allama Sahab, Dr. Syed Nawaz Sahab, with Mufti Sahab, with Muhammad Quraishi Sahab, and listen and let's have a discussion.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Yes,
Mufti
we do call.
Mufti Saheba,
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
just to add a point before I forget, our brothers from the New Crescent Society have been calling in at a rapid speed in this program, and one of the brothers said that Saudi mosques are ready to leave, subject to us uniting on just local sighting. I am very keen to explore that further. If the New Crescent Society's respectable and honorable brothers can actually convince the large Saudi following mosques, like the Regent's Park Mosque, for example, and some others, and if they could actually get them to say that we are prepared to leave Saudi subject to coming onto just local sighting, I would be the first one to entertain that idea and advocate that and work for that. However, I don't see those Saudi following core mosques leaving Saudi under any circumstances. Then we have to live with the ground realities. Do we all then just start following Saudi for the sake of following Saudi, or do we uphold our first criterion of strict adherence to the principles laid out in the Quran and Sunnah and look at the principle of local sighting and the extension of your horizon up to Morroco? Because the practical reality, as the Allama Syed Zafarullah Shah Sahab and the other esteemed ulama have said, that if people continue to follow Saudi, that's 1 day. Then 1 day after is Morroco in normal circumstances. So that's the Wifaq and the Barelvi. And then come after, in some cases, of just local sighting. So the practical gap of days sometimes is 2 days, and in rare occasions can be more. And when I say a gap, I'm taking it from the point of the false start of Saudi as well, because we cannot ignore those brothers who follow Saudi strictly, because that's 1 day. That's a day. And then the next day is normally Morroco. Then here comes just local sighting. So if the ulama in the absence of any changes with the Saudi following mosques, in the absence, are comfortable of living with a day or two gaps like Morocco does. Morocco doesn't look left, right, or any other country. They just focus on their horizon. Then that's fine. We will follow our ulama. But that's the debate to have. But I think it would be much easier if the Saudi following mosques stopped following Saudi and the New Crescent Society could convince them.
Dr.
That's
Saab,
the
we
job
have
for New Crescent Society
another call
to do.
coming through. Sorry to disturb you there. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Salam BCR. What is your name and your question?
Walaikum salam. This is Imad Ahmed, who's Director of New Crescent Society. I just want to agree with everything that Dr. Raja Zahid Nawaz Saheb said. And but I do want to correct a notion which has been said a few times, which is the moon is not visible in the UK, or we have continuous months of cloudy weather. That's not true, and that's not been true since we've been looking for the last 5 years. I also agree that we should work with the Saudi following mosques. I've been very ill for the last year, so I've been unable to, but I would like to. But in the meantime, I would invite our speakers to do that. But my question is, let's say the Ahl Sunnah, such as the groups that you have with you today, were convinced that the sighting is possible in the UK. And the Wifaqul Ulama, they're already convinced because they see me do it and they've been doing it with me. Would they consider, as a next step, following local sighting, meaning abandoning Morocco? And by the way, they don't follow Morocco, they follow Morocco and South Africa.
Okay, brother, we need you to make your question concise because we've got other texts coming through as well.
The question is, will the Morocco and South Africa following Masajid, if they are convinced of local sighting, I can show them the data for the next 10 years. We won't be 2 days different from Saudi for Ramadan or the 2 Eids. If they are convinced that there's nothing wrong with it, we proved it for the last 5 years, would they entertain local sighting as a next step for them? Because I feel if they move from Morocco and South Africa...
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Yeah, they've heard your question. Inshallah, we will answer that in just a moment. We also have more questions, but we can just answer this question and then I'll give you some more questions.
I think ये जो सवाल इमाद ने किया है ना, ये तो हमारे अल्लामा साहब, मुफ्ती गुलाम साहब और अल्लामा और डॉक्टर जाहिद साहब जवाब दे सकते हैं. Imad is trying to say that at least the people who are following Morocco, which is mostly the Barelvi Maktab Fikr, are they ready to move on to local UK only? That's the question. And I think that question Allama Sahab, Mufti Sahab and Brother Zahid Nawaz can answer.
Okay, so go ahead if you can answer that. We are reaching 5 o'clock. However, if everyone is okay, we are able to extend our program for at least another half an hour.
I think we should do, yes.
That's totally fine with us.
Yes.
बात कर लेंगे, मुझे 5 बजे जाना है तो इंशाल्लाह.
जी, सिर्फ इतना जवाब.
ठीक है, इंशाल्लाह बस आप इस बात का जवाब दे दें.
बात भाई से ये कहूँगा कि आप जो काम कर रहे हैं हम उसकी तहसीन करते हैं. आपका काम बहुत अच्छा है. लोकल साइटिंग की आप जो मेहनत कर रहे हैं वो काबिल दाद है. लेकिन इस पर मजीद मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत है और काम करने की ज़रूरत है. अभी जो आप कह रहे हैं डेटा आपके पास, उस पर भी बैठ कर हम बात कर सकते हैं. और ऐसे मैंने पिछला देखा है, मुसलसल 4 महीने तक यहाँ पर ऐसा हुआ है कि वो चांद की साइटिंग नहीं हुई, क्लाउडी वेदर था. और आगे भी मैं आपको ऐसा डेटा दिखा सकता हूँ. बहुत शुक्रिया नवाजिश आपका और हमें शिरकत करने की दावत देने का.
ठीक है, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर.
और आखिर में मैं सिर्फ अल्लामा साहब को इतनी बात बता दूँ कि अल्लामा साहब, आई एग्री विद यू 100%. लोकल पर आना है बट नॉट येट. इट्स बिट टू अर्ली. 5 years का डेटा इनके पास है और चंद साल उलमा उनके साथ मिल करके साइटिंग करे. इंशाल्लाह one day we will come to local only, but it's too early at the moment.
Okay, so for now the goal is to get all the Saudi followers to come to at least Morocco or local. One of them.
Yes, that's the goal.
Okay, so the question that the sister asked before, Zakir Patel, she's followed up by asking another question. Maulana Hanif says he follows Saudi, but says Wifaq criteria is better. So why does he still follow Saudi? If he himself isn't prepared to change, why would anyone else?
Absolutely. You know, sister, you've asked a beautiful question and everybody asks me the same question. And the answer is very simple. Unfortunately, our Central Moonsighting Committee, they are the organizations that took us from Morocco to Saudi Arabia. Now, I've been following them and I still follow them, and I want to convince them to come back to Morocco. Me personally, in Blackburn, that's where I'm from, where we've got approximately 50 masjids. There might be about 30 masjids, Deobandi Maktab-e Fikr, and 20 Barelvi Maktab-e Fikr. All 30 Deobandi masjids at the moment are following Saudi. A lot of my colleagues, personally, individually, have changed to Morocco. But I'm still trying not to split the community, to try to keep everyone united. Hence today's subject, let's unite. It's very easy for me, Hanif Dudhwala, tomorrow to change to Morocco. But that's not going to achieve anything. All that's going to happen is that Blackburn will have another group that follows Morocco. So I am ready to move, but I would like the organization to make the move, because I feel they are the ones that moved us from Morocco to Saudi. It's their responsibility to bring us back to Morocco now that we have all the information. And I just wanted to add on that there is no blame game here. I would not blame the Central Moonsighting Committee for taking us to Saudi. I would not blame them even today, because if they had the information that Saudi is doing actual moon sighting, and an Islamic country says to you that Muslims have seen the moon, then there is no other argument. You cannot use astronomical calculations to refuse the shahadat of a Muslim. And especially in Saudi, they don't need Jamme Ghafir. So therefore, one person's shahadat is good enough. Let's move away from the blame game. Let's move away from scoring points. Let's move away from saying, we're right, you're not right, we're not right. Let's all work unanimously to unite.
Absolutely.
And that is my goal.
And on that positive note, we'll take another short break, and we will be back shortly. Our program will extend past 5 o'clock, considering the amount of calls and the interest that we have got. So do call back after the break, and we will continue our session.
Spot Blue International Property Agents. Looking for property in Dubai or Turkey? We have hundreds of selected properties to suit every client. If you're looking for investment property or owner-occupier, then let Spot Blue hold your hand and buy with confidence. Spot Blue, the international property experts who understand your language. Spot Blue. For a full list of properties available across the globe, check our website spotblue.com or phone 0208 339 6036. That number again, 0208 339 6036, and across all social media platforms. Spot Blue.
हमारा मिशन अल्लाह की रजा मोहम्मद से वफा पाकिस्तान का दिफा हम हैं सलाम BCR.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Mufti Tayyibah and you're listening to Salam BCR on medium wave 1566 and on salambcr.com. Please join me every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. for a variety of Islamic related topics and Q&As.
मैं लोगों से मोहब्बत में अनाएं छोड़ देता हूँ, वफाएं याद रखता हूँ, जफाएं छोड़ देता हूँ. अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों, मैं हूँ इफ्तिखार फी, एक्टर, राइटर, शायर और कॉलम नवीस, वीलॉगर फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान. और सलाम BCR, जी हाँ, ये है नया रेडियो चैनल जिस पे आप मेरी आवाज़ सुन रहे हैं.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं शहजाद पप्पू, आप सुन रहे हैं सलाम BCR.
Salam BCR, medium wave 1566 and online. Your home of entertainment. Broadcasting across Greater Manchester and beyond. Check our website, project29.org.uk.
क्या आप अपने कारोबार को फलता फूलता देखना चाहते हैं? अगर आपका जवाब हाँ में है तो आज ही इस्लाम BCR से राब्ता करें. फोन 079126222961.
तैयबा ताहिरा तैयबा ताहिरा मेरी माँ आयशा मेरी माँ आयशा है खुदा का तू खास इंतखाब आयशा तेरे शौहर रिसालत मआब आयशा तैयबा ताहिरा तेरे शौहर रिसालत पाक हुर्मत पे तेरी जो कट मर गया, पाक हुर्मत पे तेरी जो कट मर गया, पाक हुर्मत हुर्मत पे तेरी जो कट मर गया हो गया शख्स वो कामयाब आयशा हो गया शख्स वो कामयाब आयशा है खुदा का तू खास इंतखाब आयशा तेरे शौहर रिसालत मआब आयशा.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. You're listening to Let's Unite the UK on Moonsighting with your host Mufti Tayyibah Afzal on Salam BCR, where I'm joined by a panel of experts on moonsighting. So, continuing with our discussion before the break, we are taking calls. Our line is 07990264144 or alternatively on 01612219872. We are also getting a text message as well. So we have another text message here, which is by the sister who called before, who messaged before, sorry. So the message is for Maulana Hanif. He has no contract with CMSC, the Saudi organization, as he says, are not prepared to move. So why continue to follow Saudi? If he continues to wait for CMSC, is he not scared that his Ramadan and Eid would be done on the incorrect day? He may be have missed a first fast just because he's waiting on CMSC to change their stance. Maybe if he starts the movement, then people will follow, and that might make CMSC change their own mind. Okay, we have another question, but we'll come to that one after you answer this one. Just give me a minute. Let me put your mic up. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I think feel free to share my number with this sister, because I think it needs a better explanation. But in a nutshell, I've said this before, this is not a blame game, and I do not say that those people who are following Saudi are incorrect. I need to make this clear. I would not say about anyone, if you're following Saudi, if you're following Morocco, if you're following local, each one have their own evidences, have their own proofs, and have their own fatwas as well. My whole aim is to stick to unity, and that is what this program is all about, how we can unite. And therefore, the time may come, and I do have contacts with the CMSC. I speak to them on a regular basis. I've invited them to come to programs, to come to meetings, and we are making progress. I would like to say that the year 2021-2022 has been an exceptional year. This particular subject, the CMSC were not willing to talk about for nearly 30 years. Since 1986 until 2018, no one wanted to touch this subject. For the last 4 years, we've started speaking, we've started having meetings, and we are talking. So I would like to say to this sister, feel free to give my number, Mufti Saheba, if you need to. I'm happy to continue. I don't want to take too much time on here, because obviously the amount of calls that you're getting, but I'm more than happy to explain. And if the time comes, and if I notice there's no movement from CMSA, I will be moving, and I hope a majority of black men will move, and I hope that will make the CMSA move as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. So what you're saying currently is that it is permissible, according to you, to continue to follow Saudi, although you do think it is best
absolutely, absolutely. Even the ulama, the scholars who are here, the lay people follow ulama. They follow their organizations. You know, when we go to the local mosque, the imam leads the prayer. We pray behind the imam. The imam is responsible for our prayers. These organizations, they are responsible. Why would they want us to keep Ramzan incorrectly? Why would they want us to do Eid incorrectly? It's a mistake that they've made, that maybe they are relying too much on Saudi authorities. They are saying that how can Saudi Arabia tell lies regarding moonsighting? And there's different explanations. Let's not go down the route of you're right, you're wrong, I'm right, I'm wrong. Let's all try to unite. But my own position is, I would first like to work on the organization that made me move from Morocco to Saudi, to see if they come back to Morocco. That will be the ideal scenario, ideal position.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. One more question which I'm going to ask is...
I think was there somebody else trying to call in? Or?
Yeah, there is another question,
okay,
but before
fine.
I come to that one, you also mentioned to me privately about Mufti Taqi Usmani, how he said it's more cautious to follow a certain ruling.
I have looked at and have researched this very well, and we have a major scholar which has already been mentioned, Shaykhul Islam Mufti Muhammad Taqi Usmani Saheb Mandazillah Ali, who was the Chief Justice of Pakistan. He's very knowledgeable, traveled the whole world, and Mufti Sahib actually answers the question. So when Mufti Taqi Sahib was asked that in the UK, who should we follow, Mufti Sahib said that according to what Saudi Arabia tell you, that they are sighting the moon, it is allowed to follow Saudi, but the more cautious and the better path is of those who follow Morroco, simply because everything for Morroco fits into place. As we've already discussed, that Saudi may claim a sighting even before the moon is born or the crescent, or even before astronomical calculations allow, and there's a lot of ambiguity and a lot of confusion about the information coming from Saudi Arabia. Hence, Mufti Taqi Usmani says the most cautious view, although it's acceptable to follow Saudi, don't get me wrong, but in Ibadat, and this is what I might have spoken to you about, Mufti Saheba, we are so cautious when we keep our roza for 20 plus hours to make sure we do our suhoor at the correct time. That's another issue to talk about maybe on another day. We are very careful about iftar, not to do iftar even 1 second earlier than the time of Ghurub Shams. Then why are we so careless when it comes to this? So this is why I say that the more cautious path is the one that Mufti Taqi Sahib promotes, which is following Morroco.
So are you saying that Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahib does not mention local, or is he saying local or Morroco?
Mufti Taqi Sahib recently has replied from the Darul Uloom Karachi. See, Mufti Sahiba, you're a Mufti and you should know this. A Mufti or a Darul Iftar will respond according to the question. If my colleague here, Muhammad Quraishi from the New Kazan Society, is adamant that yes, every month the moon can be sighted, Mufti Taqi Sahib will say, follow UK.
Because that's more
if I ask Mufti Sahib that the moon cannot be sighted, Mufti Sahib will say to me, go to your nearest country.
Okay, we have another call coming through. I'll have to come back to the text message in a moment.
That's fine, that's fine.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Salam BCR. Please state your name and where you're calling from and your question in a few seconds, please.
My name is Shafiq Aman. I'm calling from Manchester. And my question is, what about our Imam said when moon is born, after 18 hours you can see naked eyes. Before that, you can see the moon. And what we follow, our Imam, we follow, that's the logic in
Sorry, I'm not really
what is the
understanding
question?
what the question is. Okay, the line has cut. We do have another question from Dr. Abid from Huddersfield. The Saudi Hijri calendar is a amalgamation of two systems. Neither of these two systems is based on the actual sighting of the moon. The first system is which is used for 8 of the 12 months of the year and is based purely on calculations provided by the Royal Observatory. The second system, which is used for 4 months out of 12 months of the year, is based on the word of a Muslim. As long as a Muslim in Saudi Arabia testifies to seeing the moon, the new moon, a crescent, then the Islamic month will start.
That's another call coming through, Mufti Sahib.
I think, shall I just finish off this question?
I've picked up the gist of that question. If you just take this one, then we'll answer both together.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear us?
We'll put it down.
It's gone down. Okay, so let me just continue this one. This seems to be
Okay, I've picked up the gist
Very
of
long
that question, Mufti Sahiba. Dr. Abid Hussain is saying that if there's two calendars in Saudi, one is for the non-worship months, which is the Qura calendar, and then one for the worship months. That is the precise reason, Dr. Abid Sahib, why we are trying to move away from Saudi and why we are trying to convince the Saudi followers that because of this confusion of the Qura calendar, see what happens in Saudi, it's the only country in the world that actually uses an Islamic calendar side by side of the English calendar. So if you had an appointment in Saudi, for example, they would say to you, come on the 15th of Sha'ban. Now 15th of Sha'ban is your appointment. If the month of Sha'ban started against Qura, So for example, if it was 1 day late, you would still go to your appointment according to the Qura calendar, which is the 15th. Hence, this is where all the confusion is coming through. So if you go to any Saudi website today, they will have the Qura date. And the Qura date for this month, for Zulqa'dah, is different. Today, we're on the 18th of Zulqa'dah, according to Ru'yat, according to sighting. And if you look at it from Qura, it's the 19th. So if you look at the calendar, that's what it's going to show. So therefore, all these confusions are the reasons why we need to move away from Saudi.
Absolutely. Okay, so apart from trying to get that the main organization to come to the table, which they, as you mentioned that you've tried it, but they're not coming to the table, what else can we do? Anyone on the panel here, have you got any suggestions? What else can we do to make the Saudi followers follow either Morocco or local?
I think obviously from the New Crescent Society point of view is come out and do moon sighting where we are. It is possible. It is a misconception that the moon cannot be seen in the UK. You can sight the moon. New Crescent Society, regardless of what you're affiliated with, will offer you training to come out and sight the moon. We're running a training session on Zoom on next Sunday. So look at the New Crescent Society page. It is possible, and if you doubt it's possible, look at our live streams that we do every single month from across the UK. Moon sighting is possible, and come on to it and do it for yourself. Do it for yourself, because you're only going to understand this when you start to do this for yourself. If you haven't ever done moon sighting, if it's not your field, even if you're a learned person, if it's not your field, come out, learn it, and once you understand it, you'll be better suited to rule on it.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Dr. Zahid Nawaz, you put your hand up. You're on mute at the moment.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, now we can hear.
Okay, I've been trying to come in a number of times actually, but however, two things. We have to be factual. I think it's grossly unfair to say that the moon, if you ask a question to someone that the moon can be seen every month, there is no condition that the moon has to be seen every single month, because that's the whole concept of a lunar calendar. Either it's 29th or it's the 30th. You cannot presume that the moon will be seen every single month. So let's not make statements which may give double answers. The other brother who asked the question about 18 hours, yes, there are some ulama, unfortunately, still stuck in the idea that by calculations, if the moon is more than 15 hours, 16 hours, or 18 hours, that's it, just announce. That's a false assumption. Even if the moon is sometimes 23 hours, it does not mean that the moon will actually get sighted. You have to look at the other astronomical factors of elongation, altitude, crescent illumination. In Urdu, it's called irtifa, bod an-shams, irtiqaz-e-nur. You have to look at all those factors in order to determine. I have to leave shortly, so I'm leaving the conversation here, that there is more work to be done to enhance understanding on local sighting. We may not be ready now, but the question is, when would be ready? What needs to change? And I think more work needs to be done on the Saudi following mosques, because if the mosques change, then automatically their congregation changes. What do they change to? Do they change to something that will leave Saudi and follow Morocco? They will categorically say no. They would be more comfortable if they were convinced that we've got the data, we've got the evidence base, that in the UK the moon can be sighted. It doesn't have to be sighted every single month. That's absurd. Let's be very clear. It's sighted some months and some months are 30th. That's what happens in Morocco. Morocco sights the months on some months it doesn't sight the month. It completes 30 days. In South Africa, they sight the moon on the 29th. Sometimes they don't. They have to complete full 30 days. So let's not apply any extraordinary principles on the UK's horizon. And they will be more comfortable, the Saudi following mosques, that they leave Saudi subject to not following any other foreign country. They just rely on the local horizon. If that sea of change is taking place, I would be more than happy to sit on Noor TV with my ulama and convince them that this is the way forward. But that sea of change hasn't yet taken place. As soon as that happens, I could see a radical change taking place, which may change the whole scenario of UK's moon sighting. Because Sister Mufti Saheba, let us not forget, the demographics of the UK are changing rapidly. Our elder generation, by the will of Allah, unfortunately, are passing by very quickly. Now you have a young generation which is very scientifically oriented, and they will soon fade away from the ideas of following foreign countries, whether it's Morocco or South Africa. And I think we have to look at the changes which are set to place. But I also disagree with the brother who called in and said they are ready. And I said, Ameen, Summa Ameen. But really, am I fooling myself? I doubt it very much that the Saudi following mosques are ready, because I talked to them as well, and I found the same brick wall which I found 10 years ago. Still they are stuck with Saudi, which I cannot understand why. So Alhamdulillah, thank you for these efforts. Thank you for all the speakers for giving a diversity of ideas. And thank you for all the organizations who are working on enhancing understanding. I also, back in the 80s, thought that, oh, the UK, the moon cannot be sighted, the data doesn't exist. But the work which organizations like New Crescent, Wifaqul Ulama have all done on local sighting and enhancing our understanding needs to be appreciated. So out of every problem, there are some lessons to be learned. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hadith, even the ikhtilaf, the dispute of the ummah, sometimes can bring some blessings. And I think this is the blessing, that here we are talking about a very hot and debatable issue, but we are learning as well as we are going along. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.
Absolutely. Jazakallah khair for that. That was very informative. We do have one more question before we finish off. If the 29th of Zilhijjah 1443 moon was not seen in the UK or in India, Pakistan, but it will be seen in Morocco, why should UK follow Morocco and not complete 30 days like in Ada, Pakistan? This is Kamaruddin from York.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think...
If you just stay close to your mic, please.
Yeah, that's fine. I think what it is, unfortunately, because of history, because of what's happened, you know, I think Muslims in the UK, we're suffering from an inferiority complex of, oh, we can't see the moon, we need to rely on other countries. We don't need to rely on the countries. We actually need to do what the Prophet ﷺ ordered us to do, which is go out and sight the moon. And if we see the moon, that's fine. We start the next month. And if we don't see the moon, we complete 30 days. It's very simple. Even that cloud cover, Rasulullah ﷺ has given us the order of what to do. If it's too cloudy, then complete 30 days. We don't say, that's a rahmah, that's a, wow, we get to follow the sunnah of seeing clouds and completing 30 days. That's a sunnah too. It's not inferiority clips. Oh my God, what do? We never saw it. Let's look for another. Look at another country. We're not told. The Prophet ﷺ didn't tell us to go to another country. Cloud cover is a local phenomenon. It does not happen all around the world at the same time. If you're in your region and you do not see the moon due to cloud cover, you complete 30 days. The rules are given. if we don't see the moon, we've been told what to do. Going outside that is what's causing the confusion. Importing the moon is causing the confusion because people don't know where to import from. Shall we take it from South Africa? Shall we take it from Saudi? Shall we take it from Morocco? Nobody's going to agree on that, but you can agree on looking for the moon where you are and acting according to the hadith.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Lastly, I'd like to ask Maulana Hanif Saheb, what would you conclude from all the suggestions, the ideas, the thoughts that we've had so far, that what is our next steps? What can we do next? What are you planning to do? How are you going to try to get everyone on board?
Yeah, I think Mufti Saheba, we're very optimistic. Inshallah, the Central Moonsighting Committee had their first meeting about 3 weeks ago in Yorkshire. They had a good attendance. There were supposed to be questions, answers, but unfortunately they didn't get around to that. There are a couple of other meetings being planned over the next couple of months, where inshallah the intention is to invite both parties, three parties, the people who follow Saudi, the people who follow Morocco, and the people who follow local sighting, and to try and get a consensus before they actually come to that meeting, that which criteria would they be willing to accept. It's not the criteria you're following at the moment, but which criteria would you be willing to accept for the purpose of unity. So like we've mentioned, if somebody is following Saudi today, but they're not willing to move to Morocco, they should be willing to move to local. If people following Morocco do not want to come to Saudi, they should be willing to move to local as well. The only way you can get unity is where you've got to give and take. If each group is going to be adamant on their own stance, we will not get unity. So yes, I think the New Crescent Society has sort of come up with a solution. That look, stop fighting. Let's not have Morocco, let's not have Saudi, let's have the UK. Absolutely. My only reservation is, let's have the UK, but after a couple of years, simply because I think the people following Morocco and Saudi would like to see a lot more of what happens, how the UK moon sighting progresses. And one more clarification, I think Dr. Zaid Nawaz did not take my point. My point wasn't that the moon has to be sighted every month. The point is that there is scope that if you either sight it, or if you don't sight it, you complete 30, but you don't get 30 continuously all along the line. That was the point. That was the understanding of our scholars before, that you cannot sight it at all. If you can't sight it at all, that means, like Muhammad Quraishi said, you could go either 6-6, 29-30, or you could go 7-5, which is fine. But imagine you went 12 30s, yeah, and in the world some did 6 and some did 7, some did 8, and imagine you did 12, because that was the misconception maybe in the past, which they are now removing, and credit to them. So my final line today, Mufti Sahiba, is there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The discussions have started. Credit to you for bringing this to the public this afternoon. You've seen the interest. Maybe again later on down the line we can meet up again and speak. Try and invite, with your power of the media, invite the CMSC to a program like this, and let's try and unite.
Assalamu alaikum. We have a caller with us. You're live on Salam BCR. Please state your name and your question and where you're from.
I'm from Manchester. My name is Shafiq Ahmed. My question is, why not follow the Manchester Observatory?
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your question. We'll get that answered.
Yeah, I think Dr. Zaid Nawaz did answer that. That is very clear from the teachings of the Quran and the Hadith that you have to actually sight the moon. You cannot take astronomical calculations as a final say on moon sighting. So although astronomical calculations can be used to help you, which direction to look in, what time to look, how long to look for, it's naked sighting by the eye of the crescent that will determine the start of the moon, of the month. You cannot rely on astronomical calculations. The hadith is very clear, and it's been quoted, like Allama Saheb said, in the Bukhari and Muslim or Tirmizi Sharif. Therefore, there's no two ways about it. It has to be sighted.
Sighted, okay. I think one more idea would be to invite more people to do local sighting. If we can spread that everywhere, then hopefully it will raise awareness that it is possible. Because
absolutely,
I think
it's
the
possible.
idea is that we think it's not possible.
Just before the show ends, just another reminder to everyone. Next Sunday, it's Zoom, it's online, so you can all log in, go onto New Crescent Society's Facebook page or website, sign up, register for the training. It's happening next Sunday, a week, so it's a week on Sunday, and sign up for the training on how to sight the moon and the situation surrounding the Dhul Hijjah.
Okay, so that is on newcrescentmoonsociety.com.
No. The website is newcrescentsociety.org, and there's you can register for the training there.
Okay, Jazakallah. Any concluding comments before we finish up?
I think just to say Jazakallah so much to you, Mufti Saheba, because I think I don't think you were expecting that many questions, and you handled the program really well. And maybe in a couple of months' time, invite the Central Moonsighting Committee.
Inshallah,
they've got representatives in Rotherham, Bradford, and I think they may have local representatives as well. I don't know many locally in the Northwest, but invite them. And I think if you stick to one strapline, that the purpose is how we unite. Yeah. We do not want, we've heard enough of the arguments. Everyone's got their strengths and their weaknesses. Rather than having their strengths and the weaknesses, how do we unite? And we can unite, and let's unite for the sake of our generation.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that. A big thank you to all our experts, to Mullah Hanif and Muhammad Quraishi Saheb, especially for helping out behind the scenes as well. Thank you to all our listeners, our viewers, and all of you who sent us the messages as well. Thank you for your support and your calls. Let's try to unite for the upcoming Eid, inshallah. Let's see what we can do. If not, then at least in the coming months or the coming years. Join me again next week at the same time for the Sahaba Ke Waqiyat and the Hadith Lessons program every Saturday 3 till 5 p.m. here on Salam BCR. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ओ सुन रहे हो? जी हाँ, इसी तरह हजारों और भी सुनने वाले हैं। आपके कारोबार की कामयाबी का राज सलाम BCR।